Yo, what's up, guys? Let me just my mic a bit. I think in the last video I was a little bit overdrive. Check. Okay, this looks good. What's up, guys? Man, it's been a rough day, and tomorrow is gonna be a rough day. Oh my god. So many things. Let me just watch this one real quick. It's for the Germans. I'll give you some sound.
Denn an diesem Tag wird gewählt. Die Bundestagswahl findet statt. Rund 7 Monate früher als eigentlich geplant. Das dürfte sich inzwischen herumgesprochen haben. Aber ich könnte mir vorstellen, dass es trotzdem noch einige Fragen bei euch gibt. Zum Beispiel, was wird da eigentlich genau gewählt? Wie läuft die Wahl ab? Und wer darf mitmachen? Alles das kompakt zusammengefasst jetzt. Am Ende ging alles ziemlich schnell. Anfang November 2024 hat Bundeskanzler Olaf Scholz den Finanzminister Christian Lindner von der FDP entlassen. Die FDP ist daraufhin aus der Bundesregierung ausgetreten. Die Ampelkoalition aus SPD, Grünen und FDP ist geplatzt. Einige Wochen später hat Olaf Scholz im Bundestag die sogenannte Vertrauensfrage gestellt und wie geplant verloren. Der Weg war damit frei für eine vorgezogene Neuwahl. Bundespräsident Frank-Walter Steinmeier hat schließlich den 23. Februar 2025 dafür festgelegt. Was klingt wie ein ziemlich normaler Ablauf, hat einiges aufgewirbelt, denn plötzlich war nicht mehr Zeit bis zum 28. September 2025, der eigentlich geplante Wahltermin, sondern es musste deutlich schneller gehen. Die Parteien brauchten Wahlprogramme, Kandidaten und natürlich auch einen Plan, wie sie möglichst erfolgreich sein können. Besonders für die kleineren Parteien war und ist das eine große Herausforderung. Denn wenn man als Partei nicht seit der vergangenen Bundestagswahl im Deutschen Bundestag oder einem der Landtage ununterbrochen mit mindestens 5 Abgeordneten vertreten war, dann brauchte man erst einmal eine ganze Reihe an Bürgerunterschriften zur Unterstützung. Und die einzuholen ist schon unter normalen Umständen nicht immer einfach. Und in sehr kurzer Zeit natürlich erst recht nicht. Trotzdem ist es vielen Parteien gelungen, rechtzeitig alle Unterlagen zusammenzubekommen und vom Bundeswahlausschuss für den 23. Februar zugelassen zu werden. Darüber sprechen wir gleich auch noch ein bisschen genauer. Jetzt geht es aber erst einmal um die erste der Fragen, und die ist sehr naheliegend, nämlich, was wird gewählt? Gewählt wird für die Zusammensetzung des 21. Bundestags in der Geschichte der Bundesrepublik Deutschland. Der Bundestag ist das einzige Organ auf Bundesebene, das wir selbst wählen können. Der Bundeskanzler oder auch der Bundespräsident werden ja zum Beispiel nicht direkt von uns gewählt. Der Bundestag gehört zur sogenannten Legislative, also zu der Gewalt, die in Deutschland Gesetze macht, unter anderem zusammen mit dem Bundesrat. Und tatsächlich ist das auch eine der wichtigsten Aufgaben des Bundestags. In diesem Parlament findet die Gesetzgebung statt. Außerdem beschließt der Bundestag den Bundeshaushalt, da geht es also ums Geld. Er wirkt an der Wahl von Richterinnen und Richtern des Bundesverfassungsgerichts in Karlsruhe mit und auch an der Wahl des Bundespräsidenten, und im Bundestag wird der Bundeskanzler gewählt. Dazu kommen noch einige weitere Aufgaben. Mehr dazu habe ich euch in der Infobox verlinkt. Die Bundesrepublik Deutschland ist eine sogenannte parlamentarische Demokratie. Das heißt, die Parlamente bestimmen, wo es lang geht. Und aus den Parlamenten heraus bilden sich die Regierungen. Wir wählen also Menschen, die in diese Parlamente hineinkommen und werden dann von diesen Menschen vertreten oder auch repräsentiert. Man spricht deshalb auch von einer repräsentativen Demokratie. Das heißt, nicht jeder Einzelne von uns bestimmt, wo es im Land lang geht, sondern diejenigen, die wir dafür gewählt haben. Wir bestimmen also indirekt mit. Der Bundestag ist deshalb für unsere Demokratie sehr wichtig. Alle 4 Jahre wird er neu gewählt, zumindest in der Theorie. In der Praxis kann es aber auch mal schneller gehen, so wie jetzt im aktuellen Fall. Und damit zu der Frage: Wie wird gewählt?
Macht Sinn, aber
gewählt wird mit so einem Stimmzettel. Das ist logischerweise ein Muster. Und da könnt ihr schon sehen, man hat insgesamt 2 Stimmen. Eine Erst- und eine Zweitstimme. Mit der Erststimme wählen wir eine bestimmte Person und mit der Zweitstimme eine bestimmte Partei. Jede Partei muss für die Bundestagswahl Listen aufstellen. Auf diesen Listen stehen Kandidatinnen und Kandidaten, die für die jeweilige Partei an den Start gehen. In einer Reihenfolge, die die Parteien vorher selbst intern festgelegt haben. Und je weiter oben man auf dieser Liste steht, desto größer sind die Chancen auch tatsächlich in den Bundestag einziehen zu können. So viel zur Theorie. Jetzt zur Praxis. Es ist also Wahltag und ihr habt 2 Stimmen. Könnt insgesamt 2 Kreuze machen. Mit eurer Erststimme wählt ihr eine ganz bestimmte Person. Die Wahl habt ihr dabei aus allen Kandidatinnen und Kandidaten, die die Parteien für euren speziellen Wahlkreis als Direktkandidaten aufgestellt haben. Pro Partei gibt es maximal eine Person. Dabei gilt, die Person, die am Ende die relative Mehrheit aller Erststimmen hat, ist gewählt und zieht als Direktkandidatin oder Direktkandidat in den Bundestag ein. Zumindest Sehr wahrscheinlich, darüber sprechen wir auch gleich noch etwas
Jedes
genauer.
Jahr
Davor
in
aber erstmal zur
Gemeinschaftskunde
Zweitstimme.
gelernt.
Mit der wählt ihr, wie schon gesagt, eine Partei.
Und
Ihr
jedes
könnt aber
Jahr
auch
in der
nur ein
Arbeit
Kreuz bei der
verkackt.
Erststimme oder nur ein Kreuz bei der Zweitstimme machen. Nur mehr als 2 Kreuze dürfen es insgesamt nicht sein. Und es gibt auch noch weitere Möglichkeiten, wie man ungültig wählt. Mehr dazu in der Infobox verlinkt. Also ihr wählt und am Ende wird in ganz Deutschland ausgezählt und geschaut, welche Partei hat wie viele Stimmen. Und diese Stimmenzahl wird wiederum umgerechnet auf Sitze im Parlament. Allerdings Sitze bekommt eine Partei nur dann, wenn sie mindestens 5% aller Zweitstimmen erreicht hat. Das nennt man die Sperrklausel oder auch die 5%-Hürde. Mit einer Ausnahme. Parteien, die anerkannte Minderheiten vertreten, können auch mit weniger als 5% in den Bundestag einziehen. Allerdings brauchen sie dafür natürlich so viele Stimmen, dass ihnen mindestens ein Sitz zusteht. Bei der letzten Wahl ist das dem Südschleswigschen Wählerverband gelungen, kurz SSW. Generell gilt, je mehr Zweitstimmen eine Partei hat, desto mehr Sitze bekommt sie auch im Bundestag. Ist ja ganz logisch. Die SPD hatte zum Beispiel bei der Bundestagswahl 2021 rund 12 Millionen Zweitstimmen bekommen. Das entsprach 25,7% aller Stimmen. Sie war damit und ist bis heute stärkste Kraft. Allerdings gibt es noch eine Besonderheit. Wenn von einer Partei mehr Direktkandidaten gewählt werden, als sie laut Zweitstimmen Sitze bekommen dürfte, dann dürfen nicht alle Direktkandidaten in den Bundestag einziehen. Das ist neu. Bisher war es so, dass die Differenz durch sogenannte Überhangmandate ausgeglichen worden ist. Und die anderen Parteien haben dafür Ausgleichsmandate bekommen, damit die Mehrheitsverhältnisse wieder passen. Das hat allerdings dazu geführt, dass der Bundestag immer größer geworden ist. 733 Abgeordnete gibt es dort momentan. Zum Vergleich, bei der ersten gesamtdeutschen Wahl 1990 waren es noch 662 Sitze. Der Deutsche Bundestag ist momentan das mit Abstand größte demokratische Parlament der Welt. Und weil sowas natürlich sehr viel Geld kostet, soll künftig gespart werden. Mit den Stimmen der damaligen Regierungsparteien SPD, Grüne und FDP und mit einigen Stimmen aus der AfD wurde im März 2023 eine Wahlrechtsreform beschlossen. Der Kern dieser Reform ist, die Überhang- und Ausgleichsmandate fallen weg. Der Bundestag soll künftig immer nur noch 630 Sitze haben. So geht es dann auch für die Wahl 2025. Allerdings ein Punkt wurde aus der geplanten Reform wieder gestrichen. Eigentlich wollte die Ampelkoalition auch auf die sogenannte Grundmandatsklausel verzichten. Die sieht vor, dass eine Partei auch dann in den Bundestag einziehen kann, wenn sie die 5% nicht erreicht. Nämlich, wenn sie mindestens 3 Direktkandidaten schicken kann. Das sollte auch abgeschafft werden. Letztlich hat das Bundesverfassungsgericht das aber verhindert. Und das könnte ganz konkrete Auswirkungen haben. 2021 hat die Partei Die Linke zum Beispiel nur 4,9% der Zweitstimmen erhalten und wäre damit eigentlich aus dem Bundestag rausgeflogen, weil sie eben nicht die 5% erreicht hat. Weil die Linke aber gleichzeitig 3 Direktmandate bekommen hat, wurden ihr die vollen 4,9% in Sitzen angerechnet. Aktuell sind es 28 Sitze. Das heißt, schafft es eine Partei auf 3 Direktmandate zu kommen, dann spielt die 5%-Hürde für sie keine Rolle. Das könnte auch 2025 wieder wichtig werden. Und wo wir gerade bei Parteien sind, die nächste Frage: Wer wird gewählt? Gewählt werden, wie schon gesagt, die künftigen Abgeordneten des Deutschen Bundestags, insgesamt 630. Um gewählt zu werden, muss man mindestens 18 Jahre alt sein und Deutscher oder Deutsche sein. Außerdem darf man nicht vom Wahlrecht ausgeschlossen sein. Die Mitgliedschaft in einer Partei kann dabei sinnvoll sein, ist aber nicht vorgeschrieben. Wer als parteiloser Direktkandidat ins Rennen gehen möchte, braucht allerdings, so wie kleinere Parteien auch, eine bestimmte Anzahl an Unterstützungsunterschriften. Insgesamt gibt es in Deutschland 299 Wahlkreise und für jeden Wahlkreis gibt es die entsprechenden Wahlzettel. Und die können ziemlich lang sein, da stehen viele Namen drauf. Sich vorab zu informieren ist deshalb sinnvoll. Insgesamt zugelassen sind zur Bundestagswahl 2025 41 verschiedene Parteien. 29 nehmen teil. Allerdings treten nicht alle mit Landeslisten an. Ein besonderes Augenmerk liegt dabei auf den Parteien, die zumindest eine theoretische Chance haben, den Bundeskanzler oder die Bundeskanzlerin zu stellen. Traditionell sind das die Union und die SPD, aber auch die AfD und die Grünen rechnen sich 2025 Chancen auf das Kanzleramt aus. Dazu gibt es ein extra Video zu den 4 Kanzlerkandidaten oben auf dem i verlinkt. Aktuell im Bundestag vertreten sind, neben den Parteien, die ich eben genannt habe, auch noch die FDP, die Linke, das BSW und SSW. Sie alle stehen auch dieses Mal wieder zur Wahl. Dazu kommen viele kleinere Parteien. Die gesamte Liste habe ich euch in der Infobox verlinkt. Und damit zur letzten Frage. Wer darf wählen? Ganz allgemein, alle Deutschen, die am Tag der Wahl mindestens 18 Jahre alt sind, nicht vom Wahlrecht ausgeschlossen sind und die seit mindestens 3 Monaten in Deutschland wohnen, dürfen wählen. Auch Deutsche, die im Ausland leben und keinen Wohnsitz in Deutschland haben, dürfen unter bestimmten Voraussetzungen wählen. Die Frage dabei ist natürlich, wer ist denn vom Wahlrecht ausgeschlossen? Für wen gilt das? Da gibt es ganz unterschiedliche Fälle. Generell kann man aber sagen, wenn jemand von einem Richter zu bestimmten Strafen verurteilt worden ist, dann verliert sie oder er auch für einen gewissen Zeitraum das Wahlrecht. Interessanterweise kann man außerdem auch bei einer ganzen Reihe von Straftaten das Wahlrecht verlieren. Dazu gehören Vorbereitung eines Angriffskriegs und Hochverrat gegen den Bund, Angriff gegen Organe und Vertreter ausländischer Staaten und Abgeordnetenbestechung. Auch Landesverrat und Sabotagehandlungen an Verteidigungsmitteln gehören dazu. Jetzt hoffen wir aber mal, dass das auf euch nicht zutrifft und ihr zur Wahl zugelassen seid. Was muss man dafür machen? Wie kommt man dahin? Das Gute ist, man muss fast gar nichts machen. Die Wahlbenachrichtigung bekommt ihr automatisch per Post. Bis 3 Wochen vor der Wahl sollte das passiert sein. Wenn das nicht der Fall ist, dann unbedingt im Wahlbüro anrufen und nachfragen oder eine E-Mail hinschicken. Mit der Wahlbenachrichtigung könnt ihr entweder Briefwahlunterlagen anfordern und dann per Brief wählen oder aber ihr geht am Wahltag, also am 23. Februar, zwischen 8 und 18 Uhr in ein Wahllokal und stimmt dort ab. In welchem Wahllokal Detail genau ihr eure Stimme abgeben könnt, das erfahrt ihr über die Wahlbenachrichtigung. Falls ihr per Brief wählt, dann bitte beachten, dass ihr den Brief mindestens 3 Tage vor dem 23. Februar abschickt oder ihr werft ihn direkt beim Wahlbüro in eurem Heimatort in den Briefkasten. Und Achtung, der 23. Februar ist ein Sonntag. Wahlberechtigt sind bei der Bundestagswahl 2025 übrigens ungefähr 60 Millionen Menschen in Deutschland, aber es könnten auch noch mehr sein. In ihrem Koalitionsvertrag hatte die Ampelregierung nämlich angekündigt, das Wahlalter bei Bundestagswahlen auf 16 Jahre herabzusetzen, aber gelungen ist das letztlich nicht. Das heißt, alle unter 18-Jährigen dürfen nicht mitmachen. Hier auf dem Kanal gibt es noch eine ganze Reihe weiterer Videos rund um die Bundestagswahl 2025, auch zu den Wahlprogrammen. Alles ist in dieser Playlist hier oben auf dem i verlinkt. Und mich würde mal interessieren, für wie wichtig schätzt ihr die Bundestagswahl in diesem Jahr ein? Und helft ihr vielleicht sogar mit? Schreibt es gerne unten in die Kommentare. Und hier neben mir findet ihr 2 weitere Videos rund um die Bundestagswahl 2025. Schaut da auch gerne mal rein. Danke fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal.
Ja. Das habe ich schon geschaut. Oh, let's watch this one.
Has had is a network test, and there's been a lot of stuff in the community discussions about things that it needs to fix. And we're not going to really be talking about the biggest issue where there's a lot of disconnected, and something that happened very often, pretty much every match for the beginning. And then they fixed it a little bit, but they basically made it so that you can't put in a password. You basically can't play with a friend. You got to join a random. And then they reworked some things, and you know, it's a network test, guys. So let's calm down. But so that's not today's topic. But I do want to address that to kind of put it in the air. If you want to talk about it in the comments, that's fine.
It's exactly how you do it.
About something that's actually
because there was people who whine about it, and he mentioned it
from the community. There's been a bunch of it.
You can't say anything about it.
One of the biggest things, and something that I might even put in the title of the video, is quality of life. I think the fact that this new game,
the music he's using
is supposed to be a multiplayer
for this video, though, to explain, is too
know,
distracting,
and it lacks quality of life in a lot of ways. And that's something that I think
really just want, like, the
we're going to explore and discuss. I think that, first of all, in defense of this Night Rain mode, Elden Ring itself and From Software purposely makes their games have this retro look or feel. For example, like the bow and arrows, when you use first person, it looks like a 1990s graphics and setup. And I definitely never liked that, but that's an example of something that's like lower quality. Or for example, how your characters are a little more stiff and they can't really climb too crazy, you know, the way they do in this new mode. That's a great feature, but those are things that in the general games for Dark Souls, something that you want to have that feel of restrictive play. So your movement is a little slower, you're not as fast as we are, for example, in this game. All of that stuff is intentional. So in defense of From Software, a lot of this mechanics and gameplay or features tend to be very retro-ish is the best word I can use.
And I think my voice is have to deal low compared to the video.
So that's my first defense before I get into the topic. Second defense is
I'm not sure
that it's meant to be.
Also, what I'm not sure is, can you play this solo?
Challenges, and they also decided that this co-op was going to be a little more fluid. So
you don't have to co-op.
You can climb a bit, just literally mantle on anything, right, like a wall or something, and kind of just get a little wall jump type of action. And things like that weren't in the game before. Your movement speed's fast. You'll never go heavy and slow roll. I mean, there's a list of these great.
It's $40. I wouldn't buy
that you can
buy it for $40 if I had to co-op.
Or you can get upset
if I just get like free content or like free content, lol. That $40 worth of content.
Missing a lot of different things.
It's like a game.
One of the
topics
was pinging.
So I have to say,
game you can ping something, but it doesn't really give you
the expansion or the DLC, whatever you want to call it.
All the time. So it doesn't
how much was it?
Hey,
like the original game?
So one of the first
we also played that in 100%.
That I'm hearing from the community, and that I also feel because I play games like Apex and other games where the characters will speak when you ping something. Hey, look, I found this item. Hey, there goes a boss, or whatever it is that you're pinging. They'll have some verbal suggestions, and the icons of those things and the details will be there. And so they've been talking about having a better communication system within the game. Right, and he's like, hey, we got the text chat. What if nobody wants to get on the microphone? What are we going to do? How do we do this? And so that's already been addressed, guys. That's something that developers put into the game, and they want to, you know, create a better system. And I'm all for it, and I think it's necessary, and it's very, very key. And you can't diss this game because the Elden Ring co-op is pretty bad. It's something we're used to for Dark Souls From Software players, but that doesn't mean that it's the best. And so this game changed it. Now we can spread out. I can go where I need to go and just look around the map and then meet up with my teammates when I feel like it. So this is big time better when it comes to that. So I think it's gonna be fine, and we can't complain about that as much as we would like, because that was something I didn't like for years with From Software games, where the co-op was like, put a finger down, where are you? And you gotta go through a process. When I'm used to just clicking on a menu and inviting somebody into a game.
What is this jumping?
And these are the type of things that they have to work on.
How did it do they double jump,
fluidly.
triple jump?
You know,
What
when
the
you're
fuck?
on controller, for example, the way that PC players play, where they're in and out the menu, swapping things.
You can't play this
mid-fight,
game controller.
and that's a very cool thing. That's like the professional play style. And a lot of the regular
To
guys
play it really
playing
good,
on
you have to
controller
PC
can't do
it.
any of this movement. And so those are the type of things
I don't know
that
if you
I'd love for
can.
them
You probably
to
can, but
adjust and work
so
on.
freaky.
But for me, one of the
For me
biggest
anyways.
conversations, and this is my personal take, is
Does
that
everything that you
the
have to
game felt
aim?
like one or the other, right? When you're sitting in
I need a
here,
mouse.
it felt like if I went through these castles and beat all these smaller enemies and a couple mini bosses, I can beat the boss pretty easily, comfortably, and not feel threatened. And if you don't do that, you're gonna have a very high challenge. And now I get it; it's a From Software game, so it's not supposed to be one way or the other. And all of these games always have that weird, unbalanced scaling. But the scaling is
The
there.
music and
It's
fights were
just that
so
you can be
fucking epic,
overpowered
dude.
and just destroy.
I wish I
these bosses
recorded
pretty
more of
easily.
it.
So I'm not sure
Made
what
like
they
a
can do. How do you
playlist.
guys feel? I don't need a boss to have like 10 million health, and you know we got to chip away for a half hour just to kill a boss. And I also don't need it that every boss is one-shotting, no matter what type of gear you use. And so, what is the balance that you guys feel is good? This is a From Software game, so it's supposed to be difficult, but it felt a little bit easier to level up and get strong enough. So I'm not sure how they can turn that up. And of course, this is the network test. Until we get the full game, you can't really say. But that's just something that I was thinking about and that I want to hopefully see get fixed and that gets worked on in the long run, because that's something that people have kind of not sure about, and they're questioning if it's in the right place. And lastly, this is probably the most on-demand topic, is are we getting a solo mode to this? A lot of us, myself included, loves
there
the
it is.
challenge of getting in there and trying to figure it out. It might be too difficult for soloing. Don't know. But right now the game requires you to have your full team. Now a player can drop out and then you're playing with two players, but that is not even a mode or requirement that they can allow you right now. And the devs are taking notes. They said they thanked us for the feedback, which is nice.
Wait, I
but
mean you
it's
can
not a sure thing that
scale?
on release.
What?
They're going to make it so that you can play with two players rather than three, or maybe just play with one player.
1 or 2 drop?
Right? Those are the type of questions, if it's possible.
The
that they
mobs
can make
just
that
scale
happen.
down.
You know, this has been a single player
Should
game
be
for the
easy.
most part. Elden Ring and the DLC, it allows you to co-op and do PvP, but it's not the main focus. You can play the whole game solo. So even though I know this is supposed to be co-op, and I'm not demanding this, by the way, this is more community focused, I would love it if they did make it
No, but if you can play it
one
solo,
player
but it's
experience
too hard,
where
that
they
also
allow you to
sucks.
go in if you really want to go in and show off how good you are.
Because this game is hard.
Just for fun.
You have to
You know,
like
I
dodge.
personally don't mind playing co-op, even if it's with randoms. If they die and I can continue the game, then cool. But if they keep dying, it might be a problem. And I'm not sure how that will work in the long run, where players probably not playing too well and they're just like ruining the fun of the game. You get me? So those are the type of questions I have and thoughts when it comes to feedback and breakdown. And I want your feedback and your thoughts. I want you to share
What do we think?
you're thinking in the comments, because there's probably way more than that.
I don't know.
Again, the quality of life is the biggest conversation. Just small little things that's been a problem on all the Elden Rings.
Like
But
what?
now that this is a co-op experience multiplayer, I think they can't be allowed to just get away with not upgrading certain things, in my opinion. So
So
hopefully we see
apparently you
those
can
quality
play
of life.
like
Let
with
me
the
know what
random
type of things you
lobby.
feel you want
Random
to see
people.
from this game in the near future when they do fix it. Appreciate you guys. Hope y'all enjoyed this. By the way, I got the full run of what you're watching. If you want to see the full run, it's on my channel, as well as some breakdowns on all of the items in the network.
Would be
text,
cool.
Okay, so it should be on the channel popping up right now.
If
Make sure you
everyone,
like and comment
if he's
this
like,
video was entertaining and informative. We got more along the way. See you there.
they
Peace.
all are like way the same, you know. There was this one game, man. What was it? Was it Lost Ark? Where leveling experience was really good. You play with like randoms, and everybody
So
is
we are covering
like
Elden
carrying each other.
Ring, Night Rain. This is a brand new co-op experience, and this is the
Was it
network
Lost
test. We're
Ark?
gonna be
I can't
talking
remember.
about each of the classes and their abilities, and we're going to showcase them. And
So I'm not sure about this, but we're gonna keep it on the radar. There's a bunch of a little bit sexist kind of topics. I say that because I got called sexist for wanting anime girl on my arm as a tattoo. No, but really, there's like the few videos I selected for today. Like one is a woman bashing other women, while men are like pulling away and about dating life and stuff. And I find these interesting currently because I kind of feel out of touch. Whatever the world thinks is okay. So I wanna, just peek and see what they think. But there's still some game videos I wanna see.
10 JRPGs of 2025 with gameplay that's straight up addictive. From massive worlds to combat that feels like magic, these games deliver. And hey, if you're into JRPGs, hit that like button and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. Starting us off at number 10, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Even in 2025, this game's open world design still puts newer titles to shame. We're talking massive environments where you can spend hours just wandering, fighting, and wondering how your quick session turned into an all-nighter. The combat? It's a real-time strategy playground. You've got different character classes, chain attacks, and massive boss fights that feel like mini-movies. Plus, the story hits hard. It's emotional, epic, and packed with twists that make you question who the real enemy is. If you like JRPGs with endless depth and unforgettable battles, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 still holds its ground.
Never heard of it. Looks amazing for
Metaphor
30 years
Refantasio.
ago.
Imagine classic JRPG combat got a next-gen makeover. That's what this game delivers. The turn-based system has real-time elements, so fights feel more dynamic without losing that strategic depth. And the art style? It's like someone brought a fantasy painting to life. But what really hooks you is the world itself. Mystical creatures, kingdoms teetering on collapse, and gameplay that rewards creative strategies. 1 minute you're exploring a vibrant town, the next you're summoning beasts to obliterate enemies. It's the perfect blend of old-school charm and modern JRPG magic.
Also never heard of this one.
Sliding into number 8 is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And trust me, this game is pure chaos in the best possible way. The turn-based combat now has real-time movement, which means more strategy, more action, and yes, more hilarious street fights with guys in weird costumes. The story? Classic Like a Dragon. You'll go from laughing at absurd karaoke scenes to gasping at unexpected emotional gut punches. And if you get tired of fighting crime, you can run a business empire, go fishing, or even join ridiculous side quests. It's part JRPG, part comedy show, and 100% worth your time.
It's like a GTA.
At number 7, Dragon Quest Echoes of an Elusive Age. This is old-school JRPG magic polished to perfection. The turn-based combat might look traditional, but it never feels boring, thanks to clever enemy designs and abilities that make every fight a tactical puzzle. Plus, the world is packed with quirky characters, weird monsters, and towns that feel straight out of a fantasy novel. And let's be real, slimes? Still the most adorable enemies in gaming history. If you want a JRPG that's easy to pick up but hard to put down, this one's still a gem in 2025.
All of them are basically Final Fantasy copies.
Coming in hot at number 6 is Tales of Arise. If you're tired of slow, clunky combat, this game is your cure. The action feels smooth, fast, and downright cinematic. You're stringing together flashy combos like a fighting game pro. Except here, you're taking down colossal monsters with giant swords and fiery spells. But Tales of Arise isn't just an action fest. The story hits you with themes of freedom, oppression, and identity. Plus, the characters actually feel like real people, arguing, bonding, and sometimes roasting each other mid-battle. If you want a JRPG with heart and heat, this is the one. Halfway through the list, and at number 5, it's YS8 Lacrimosa of Dana. This game doesn't waste time. You're thrown into real-time combat faster than you can say Lacrimosa. The speed is insane. Dodging, countering, and slashing through enemies feels smooth and responsive, which makes every fight feel like a test of reflexes. And the island setting? It's packed with mysteries, dangerous creatures, and survival mechanics that keep you constantly engaged. 1 minute you're building shelters, the next you're battling a sea monster. It's like JRPG meets survival adventure, and it absolutely works.
Could we finish?
Next up, at number 4, Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven.
What's it called?
This game
Genshin? Genshin Impact?
Forget linear storylines. Here, your choices actually shape
Also,
the
there is
world.
an actual
Want to conquer
Wuthering
neighboring kingdoms?
Waves.
Go for it. Prefer diplomacy?
We
You
did
can do that too. The
Wuthering
combat system
Waves
sticks
one.
to its turn-based roots, but adds new mechanics to
like
keep battle
it?
strategic and engaging. Plus, the updated visuals give this classic game a well-deserved glow-up. If you're the kind of player who loves experimenting
I
and
think I
seeing
like the
consequences of your
graphics
decisions,
a lot.
this one's a must-play. At number 3, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yes, it's a few years old, but it still runs circles around newer tactical RPGs. The gameplay is all about strategic planning, from choosing who fights alongside you to positioning units on the battlefield. Every choice matters. Mess up, and your favorite character might not make it out alive. Off the battlefield, you're building relationships and managing your students like a fantasy-themed high school principal. And
For
with
me,
multiple
it's all
story
about
paths,
story
this game
nowadays.
offers a ridiculous amount of replay value. Strategy fans,
And
this
all of
one's
them
your
look
gold
like the
standard.
same, and I know I played so many of them. The story is
Almost there.
not always
At
the
number
same,
2,
but
we've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. If you thought Remake was impressive, this sequel takes things up a notch.
what is
The
this?
combat
What?
is a perfect mix of action and strategy, with flashy abilities and intense boss fights that keep you on edge. The world feels bigger and more detailed than ever, and the story dives even deeper into Cloud and Crew's journey. Plus, there's just something special about hearing that victory fanfare after a tough battle.
Wow, what are
If
these
you want a
models?
game that feels
The
like a
polygon
playable
thing.
blockbuster movie, this is it.
Oh man, that's what I want. Like the story, as I said.
And here we are. Combat is a
number one
perfect
for
mix
me.
of action and strategy, with flashy abilities and intense boss fights that
So
keep
it's
you on
Final Fantasy
edge.
VII.
The world feels bigger and more detailed than ever, and the story dives even deeper into Cloud and Crew's journey. Plus, there's just something special about hearing that victory fanfare after a tough battle. If you want a game that feels like a playable blockbuster movie, this is it.
Let me look it up.
And here we are. Number 1 goes to Persona 5 Royal.
Oh
Even in
my
2025, this game refuses to leave the spotlight.
We have to
The
play
turn-based combat
Persona.
is stylish and satisfying,
How much
with
is
slick
Persona?
animations that make every fight feel fresh. Outside of battle, you're managing a double life. One day you're taking down supernatural threats, the
50.
next you're stressing over exams. The social sim mechanics add
Oh, wait.
surprising depth, letting you build relationships that
There's
actually matter in
multiple
combat.
ones. This is
And here we are. Number 1 goes to Persona 5 Royal. Even in
Royal. Oh, they don't have that. Let's see.
2025, this game refuses to leave the spotlight. The turn-based combat is stylish and satisfying, with slick animations that make every fight feel fresh. Outside of battle, you're managing a
$60.
double life. One day you're taking down supernatural threats, the next you're stressing over exams. The social sim mechanics add surprising depth, letting you build relationships that actually
Sega.
matter in combat. And the soundtrack?
Motherfuckers.
Absolute fire. If you haven't experienced Persona 5 Royal yet, you're missing out on one of the best JRPG experiences of all time.
I bet.
And that's the list. Which JRPG are you most hyped to play in 2025?
Yeah, Final
Let me know in
Fantasy
the
and
comments.
Persona.
And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you want more
So
JRPG
let's see
goodness.
Final Fantasy
Until next time,
price.
keep gaming.
Rebirth. $70. Man, it's like 1 month old. $70, dude, that's too much. Fuck. We have to wait. I can't be spending that much on a game. It's because there's too many games. You can get like 3 good games with this, but you have to wait. What is this? Why good people can't find love in 2025.
Keep scrolling. I'm not trying to pander. I'm just keeping it a stack and saying what really need to be said. A lot of men in this generation genuinely want to settle down, tie the knot, and just come home to a loyal woman. A lot of women just need a ring on their finger and some real good loving. So many people in our generation nowadays are walking around so tense and uptight because they're trying to live right. Everybody out here is not trying to live and walk in situationships their entire life. Some people are genuinely healed and ready to actually have a happy and healthy home. Some people
think he's
actually know
talking
how to
about me.
communicate with their partner. Some people don't have all of these crazy list of things that they require out of a person. They just want genuine respect, understanding, and a good level of maturity that aligns with what they have in sight for their life. When you're out here trying to live a life with good morals and integrity, it's going to frustrate you after a while when you're out here trying to live right, while everybody else is out here just feeding into this toxic cycle. That's going to create a lot of tension and make you feel a little bit uptight. And at this point, it almost feels hopeless for a lot of people. I'm serious. There's some people out here that genuinely looked in the mirror and said, I cherish myself. I love myself. I'm not about to just let everybody have me. I'm not about to just be out here willy-nilly. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for my person. I'm going to take time getting to know myself and loving myself. I'm going to travel, enjoy life, whatever the case may be. Stack my bread, stack my paper, be patient. And after a while, those people look and be like, God, I'm genuinely out here like living a real, I'd say a solid life. They're human. These people are human beings too. And after a while, you're going to be a little frustrated. You're going to be a little tense. Some people out here that deserve to be on dates haven't been on dates in years. A lot of people don't even ask for much out here in this generation. It's just that social media only likes to promote the drama. But when you log off this app, there are people, genuine, good human beings out here, willing to love and work with another human being. A lot of people would genuinely appreciate just going on an official, authentic date. No strings attached, no anything else, just genuinely spending time with a good person who is genuinely showing interest in them. Some people are not in a rush. Some people are cool taking their time, building through friendship with another person. Again, this generation just pushes drama and the negativity of all of these stigmas around relationships right now. But genuinely, it's really not that hard. It shouldn't have to be that hard. And at this point, I don't blame anybody who says, I'm just going to protect my peace and just remain single. Because it's too much effort, too much energy to waste going into somebody who may or may not know what they want after a week. I'm not actively dating. Truthfully, I'm kind of minding my business. I'm kind of one of those people like, hey, it kind of is what it is. This generation kind of crazy. But one thing I'm not going to say or act like is that it's no good people out here. There are good people out here. There are genuinely good people out here that do not base or value their relationship off of social media or the validation of their social groups. Food for thought. I'm just keeping it a stack.
Now you just have to leave house and actually be interested in somebody you meet outside.
One thing for pre-workout usage, by the way.
That was a cool video. I like the edit and everything. It was cool. Ooh, what is this?
So let's be honest here. The dating game has evolved into a battlefield of emotional intelligence. Dating and relationships are not what they used to be. You've got to stay 2 steps ahead if you want to navigate women and relationships successfully. It's not about manipulation. It's about understanding the modern psyche because it has evolved. You do this by reading between the lines, knowing how women think, and sharpening your own emotional intelligence. That's how you take control in the world of modern dating. Now, here's a situation
By the way, the title is The Most Dangerous Question a Woman Can Ask You.
guarantee 99.99999% of men have faced before. A woman asked you, what's your type? Or, what do you look for in a woman? It seems harmless, right? She's just trying to get to know you better and see if she fits what you would be interested in, right? Wrong. This is a dangerous trap that most men don't even realize they're walking into. Here's why. When you lay out your type or expectations, you're giving her a roadmap to manipulate you. If she does have any ulterior motives, whether it's gold digging, manipulation, or any other type of game, then you've just handed her the exact blueprint on how to play you. She'll become that perfect version of what you want, mimicking your ideal woman, and you won't even see it coming. coming. She'll start
but that's
acting
good,
out those
no?
traits you're looking for, becoming the exact woman you told her you desire. That's why I tell guys, be very careful with this question,
then what's
because
the
the
problem?
wrong woman will use this knowledge to get inside your head and destroy you from the inside. So what do you do when she throws you this loaded question? Here's what I tell guys to say. I'm not into types. I just want a woman who's authentically herself. Don't worry about fitting into some kind of preconceived notion of what I want. Just be you. If we connect, we'll know. By responding with this, you've done two very powerful things. Number one, you forced her to be authentically herself, because now she doesn't have any kind of blueprint on how to manipulate you. And number two, you flexed your masculinity by flipping the script. You took control of the question and answered it on
Who is this
your
woman?
terms.
We have to protect
You've
her.
set the tone with her question. Now,
Olivia.
some of you might be thinking, won't this scare
Thank
her
you.
off? And to that I say, good. If she bails, she wasn't built for you anyway. You just dodged a bullet and saved yourself a lot of wasted time. Only women looking to manipulate you will be intimidated and run from a man who refuses to divulge a type. But a real woman, an authentic one, she'll actually be intrigued by it. Mystery is a man's best friend.
I believe
The
that.
right woman will be intrigued, drawn in by the mystery, the unpredictability, the challenge this answer evokes. You want a woman who wants to discover who you are, not one looking for a mold to fill. You want a woman who's real, not someone who's playing a role to impress you. And it might take some weeding out to find her. But remember this,
Very good
it's
answer.
not about finding the woman who can play the part. It's about finding the one who doesn't need to. She'll match your energy, your standards, and your values without
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
too hard to
manipulate
find.
her way in. It's the type of man he is. It's about the way he carries himself, the way he lives his life, the values and morals he lives by. So don't ever hand over the blueprint to your life, guys. Keep them guessing and keep them on their toes. So with that being said, until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Man, I'm gonna have these kind of videos in my feed now. I had some crazy feed today. Let's see, let's pick one. By being a nice guy can actually turn women off. By Magic Maya. I think we found her yesterday. And how to fix it. Wow.
No matter how nice you are, no matter how much you give, women just aren't that into you. Or if they do show you interest, it's fleeing because the attraction isn't there and the building phase has crumbled beneath both of your guys' feet. Usually being a nice guy, you shoot yourself in your own foot by doing these things I'm going to be sharing in today's video that block attraction from happening and the chemistry that's needed to really allow a connection to build. And for the nice guys, I don't blame you. I mean, I think it's a very normal response to, social
the
interactions
nice
is to
guys.
be liked. You want to be liked, especially when you're on a first date with a woman. You want to present your best self. But when it's coming
Like
from
they're
a
a
place of
certain group,
unworthiness, lack, and somewhat of this silent desperation, women catch on to this quicker than you know. And this could be the very thing that is killing your attraction. So in today's video, we're going to be going over how you as a nice guy kill the attraction early on that women need to build desire for you. So if you guys are intrigued this far, let's get into today's video. Starting off with number one, it's a lack of boundaries and having a difficult time asserting yourself in a way of authenticity and integrity to your word. Nice guys often don't feel comfortable setting boundaries early on because of the fear of upsetting someone else. And when you're approaching women and dating through the fear of, honestly, rejection, it's going to limit your attraction because you're not actually showing her that you respect yourself. If you're always appeasing to the woman, if you're always agreeing with everything she says or everything she wants to do and you're not even having a say in it,
I can disagree very easily
she's
and
going to
respectfully.
question at some point is, why is this guy always agreeing with me? Is he
And I
fragile in
will.
his own sense of self? And why is this? Fear of rejection, needing approval, having insecurities. And listen, we all have insecurities, but when you allow your insecurities to lead you
But
in
I tend
dates
to
with
agree
women,
a
or
lot.
just any interaction, the interaction is never going to go the way you anticipate.
Of course, that's how
because
I
it's
am.
coming
I
out
like
of a
to
place of
learn
you not being real with you. And a lot of times people will give you an opportunity to set a
from
boundary.
whoever,
And when
whatever.
it comes to women, that is very important you take it because you're showing her that you respect yourself. And for a
So if
man
they
who
express
respects
like
himself, it
their
allows
side,
women to actually look up to you
I
rather than
like
down
it.
to you because you're just
Because I wanna
tolerable
like
of everything she says to you or how she treats you or how she behaves around you. If you don't like something if something is coming in between you and your integrity, you and your moral compass, you and your virtue to yourself, and someone is acting in ways that that you don't respect, but you're fearful of rejection, you're fearful of not being liked, so you suppress it and you suppress it, you're not actually building that relationship on healthy grounds, on a solid foundation. And that's what a relationship is. It's you and another person building a house together for two people to live in. But when the structure is unstable and unreliable, it's going to crumble at some point. And the debris of what is left is just you not being able to assert yourself in a way that's coming from truth and honoring your truth.
Second is a man who leads with his insecurities. Now, nice guys, they usually do lead out of the insecurity of people won't like me for who I am. So I'm going to nice guy my way into interactions, conversations, just to get that approval I can't give to myself. And when
Wow,
you're
is that the
leading a
reason why people are
relationship and you're
nice?
leading a woman,
No.
honestly, with that sense of self, she will not trust you in the ways that you show up. Because you're leading from a very fragile part that she can
Yeah, that is
smell on
pretty
you.
fragile.
Insecurities are something
I
we
don't
all
think that's
have.
why people
And
are
I think when
nice,
you're
though.
open and you're honest with a woman
I'm
about
nice because I
maybe
want
some
to be
things
nice.
that you have a hard time dealing with, or
'Cause it's
you
nice.
maybe want to improve upon in yourself, bring that into a conversation. Let her know. Because honestly, being real is something that is so discounted in our society. We feel like we all have to have it figured out.
It's so
When
hard
you can
being
show
nice,
up and
not
say,
because
I want to improve on these areas of
being
my
nice
life,
is hard,
you're taking charge of those
not because
insecurities.
being
You're owning
toxic
them, and you're
is
showing
so
her that you
engraved.
are actually bettering yourself out of them. And
It's like
obviously, you don't want to
more
lead conversation
automatic
out of
than
this
being
is
nice.
what's wrong with me, this is what I don't
Nice
like
is
about
effort.
myself, because that's the wrong way to go about it. But when it does come up, or you feel an insecurity come online, addressing it actually just within yourself first is a great way to have power over it, so it does not have power over you, the decisions you make, how you carry yourself, and how you even treat women. And just like for a man, there needs to be some sort of attraction to the woman for you to actually desire her. Same goes for women and how they really do desire emotionally available men. Emotions are the way we are wired. And that's why confident men really are magnetic to women, because they have that strong sense of who they are. And with that can allow that woman to be inspired by you in the ways that you act, in the ways that you lead, in the ways that you handle challenge. Is it coming out of an insecurity, or is it coming out of a strength that you had to develop by yourself to make sure that you can handle this life appropriately and effectively to who you are? You showcasing to her that you got her and you got you at the same time. This is something that she will see and appreciate and value within you, because confidence is attractive. We can't deny this. Being confident is having a strong sense of security in who you are. Regardless of your flaws or not, you have acceptance over them, but you do not allow them to lead your life and your interactions with other people. Now, my last point I want to make of how nice guys kill attraction is by you not allowing mystery to be a part of the relationship. Mystery is a part of that compel she has over you. And that's by you not necessarily playing games and needing to, and that's not by you playing mind games. It's by you showcasing to her that you have a life outside of just the relationship. You have things you're doing on a day-to-day basis. You have goals you're working towards. You're busy with improving the quality of your life, and how that is highly, highly attractive to other people is you not needing other people to determine the quality of life you have. You've made that for yourself by your actions, by your habits, by how you utilize the time every single person is given in a day, and you use it for the betterment of your life. Now, this is something that can look different from person to person, but mystery is something that, yes, builds attraction, builds chemistry. Is you not putting it all out on the table right away, all of your past, all of your future, all of your insecurities, all of everything. No, you want to take your time. This is something nice guys have a really hard time doing, is trusting and having faith in the unfoldment of the relationship.
How many views this has? Okay. Being 5'7" kills attraction. Oh no. Oh, all the short kings. Maya, do you like bad boys? Hey, hey, boy. I mean, I like the video, but not enough to give it a like. Sorry, Maya. Semen retention. Oh, okay. Let's check this guy. Expressing this takes your relationship to a higher level.
Visceral. People don't think about this. They feel an aggressive urge to take from you. And along with the body language is not having.
I like his hair. He looks nice. Like a nice man.
Having an angry face and an assertive face. A lot of people rarely show their anger to people. They only show anger towards themselves. Your angry face is there for a reason. It's there to threaten. It's there to deter people. And if you're not able to show the angry face because of fear of being pushed away, fear of losing that friend, fear of losing that partner, you're gonna inspire more aggression from other people. And if you don't know how to have that aggressive voice when somebody does something wrong, you're never gonna communicate to people that you're serious about what you're saying. This is something that to me is one of those things that
what is he on about?
That I just wish that I could put my brain into hers and say, hey, you are about to embark in a life of complete manipulation and complete chaos. You are gonna eventually date men who will literally take advantage of you, who will literally completely destroy your life, take everything from you. I'm with you as a friend. I could sense the weakness emanating from you. It's all in the face and you're not in your voice. If you respond with aggression with weakness, people just get more aggressive. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about your faith. They only care what they can take from you. If you're showing weakness, people don't respect you. They don't even look at you as human. People only respect those who have strength. They only give people humanity to those who have a strength emanating from you. That's why people don't respect kids that much, because they have a literal weakness. People only give a humanity to those who they feel like are on their level. Right, but when they feel like you're below them, either
but it
socially,
shouldn't be like that.
Financially,
From,
there's a certain level. Sorry, people. Oh my God, he fucking died. No, I'm alive, people. Right? There's a certain level.
His background must be very toxic.
That people tend to experience whenever you communicate that type.
He doesn't seem too old.
And if you don't know how to do that,
have you seen Hunter X Hunter? Of course, bro.
Face,
I'm thinking my first tattoo
and just
is gonna be.
And speak in a direct,
the Phantom Troop Spider.
Whenever you're speaking to someone,
and the number I'm gonna have to give myself, I'm not gonna say, because you're gonna steal it.
Like almost like downward voice, not upward, like asking a question, right? And the last
Can
one,
I give you some content? What are you talking about?
Relying emotionally on someone who hasn't proven themselves to you.
What are you talking about, Phyllis?
One of the traits that I notice when somebody communicates weakness is that they start to rely on you without really knowing you, without really knowing your character, without you really proving themselves to you. They start to trust you too soon, too fast, and start to give you emotional responsibility. They start to rely on you emotionally. And people who do that are looking for someone to save them. And that just communicates weakness. That tells people you have no internal locus of control. You have no control over your emotions. And that creates an exploitative relationship.
You can do a reaction to it.
Most people will take advantage of that. Most people don't have the compassion to stop you in your tracks.
Is it long?
Don't do this. They just don't. Most people have a hunger for power, a hunger to have someone under their control. And a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people get drunk on that. So what they do then is that they completely make you dependent on them. You give
so
them,
it's
you
long?
Give them power because you can't control your emotions. And so then they use you as a vessel to feel powerful.
No,
so
I respect that.
You it's just used, but in your mind, you're gonna interpret that as somebody caring for you because at least
I'm kind of on a different trip right now.
At least they're showing something. At least they're feeling something for you. Come on, man. You know, it's you can't be in that. The next one is coming back after they made mistakes.
But I can
They're the
put
ones
it
that
like
did something bad. You come back apologize.
On a list, maybe.
They're the ones they didn't pay you when they owed you money. You come back.
Don't count on it. It could take a while because I'm just in a different rabbit hole right now.
On the right time and cancel it. You come back apologizing. People see that and they salivate, lick their lips, go like that, go old Birdman on you. And the last one, trauma. Trauma is the one that people see in the face. Whenever you have trauma, when you get too traumatized, it shows in your face. There's a nervousness. You can't even help it. You know, like your body language gets
not an AI-generated channel.
Like worry,
who cares about that?
It shows through, and what that shows.
He clearly shows himself like this. He must be like anti-AI.
But there's nothing wrong with having psychological problems. You know what I'm saying? The problem is that in the social realm, when people don't know you, and when you don't know people's intentions, people see that as an opportunity to take something from you. They see you as
that's not a bad thing.
You're showing psychological vulnerabilities, and it awakens the prey in people. And a lot of these people who show weakness consistently, they're just traumatized kids. People who were traumatized as children who never healed, and so they're using relationships in the opposite sex as a way to cope with their emotions.
In my feet,
you know. And I personally feel the most compassion for those people, the most compassion, because they're not aware of what's going on, and they're not aware of the hell they're walking into.
Look, the thing with his video now in particular, all he does is from the start, it's just venting. and basically telling me his story, how where he comes from, everybody's toxic. That's all I get from his video. It's nothing I can apply, like nothing. So there is no value for me. After 5 heartbreaks, here's what I learned. This concept will save you. Should we check this guy out?
The question is to who? So today I want to discuss one of the major issues as men we face and think we can potentially overcome through experience, hope, and prayer: loyalty. You see, the truth is, women
Man, loyalty is so easy.
are
So easy.
not just loyal to you; they're loyal to something that's way bigger than you. So in this video, I'm going to debunk.
I could have
how you're
cheated
gonna
so many
stop
times,
losing
I never did.
to that thing every single time. I'm going
And
to
often
reveal
I
a
think I should
secret
have.
that can completely shift everything you think you know about women's loyalty. I'm not talking about being the perfect man or a great strategy or like a secret way to understand this. No, this is some real stuff that I had to learn the hard way in the hopes that you don't get to repeat the mistakes I made. This is in the hopes that from the first date to long commitment, you can have a peaceful journey. Because Lord knows we need it. Let's dive in. Number one, women are loyal to their emotional security, not just you. Before I dive in, let me just describe quickly what I do. So I'm a dating coach.
That's interesting.
I help men embrace manhood, and I help men understand female nature in the hopes of them being able to build better relationships and more fulfilling lives. Okay, cool. So let me debunk this first myth. Women are tied or loyal to their emotions. That's what they're loyal to. You're not that special. You stop taking care of them, you're gone. I know that. But for some reason, a lot of us don't. They are very amazing and caring creators.
Be right back. Just a sec, guys. 2 minutes. Yeah. Let's see. By the way, yeah. Let's go.
Bitches and the human beings, right? I'm not gonna dispute that. But they're after their own emotions. They're driven by their own emotions. Same way some of you guys are driven by sex. If you have no access to sex in your relationship, you're probably not gonna stay there. Right? Some of you are loyal to your idea or something, but the idea is you're not just the person plays the role of providing that very thing you're loyal to. You're not just loyal to a person. The idea of somebody just being loyal because you're a human being needs to be something that we debunk and deal with today. The emotion needs to be looked after as much as the person is. We look at women and think to ourselves, why do they cheat? Why are they so horrible? And before I go any further, I want to share with you guys a story. So here I am, 15, 16 years old. I can't remember exactly, right? I'm heading to this place to surprise the girl I was with at the time. And what happened was, as I got to the place, she had moved on with somebody else, but I wasn't aware of it. So when I'm surprising her, I see her with this guy, and I'm thinking, what's going on? And this is in front of a large crowd, right? What happened is she acknowledges I'm there, but pretty much simply doesn't care. Why doesn't she care? Again, women are loyal to their emotions. She wanted status. She wanted security. That because I was insecure and because I was not confident to provide at the time, because I thought all I had to do was be this good person, be kind. Like my parents told me, you know what? Be kind, be a nice person, be a good human being, and things will just fall in your lap some way, somehow. That's not how the world works.
Not how it works.
That's not how women work. That's how most things don't work. And this is why nice guys.
Yeah, if you're nice, you get.
Because in your head, you're thinking it's like going to pay for something, and you're saying, "Oh yeah, I'll pay in biscuits." We need cash over here, young man. Every single time you understand that you're playing an emotional game, this is not just conversation, communication, clear communication. This isn't just good deeds. This is an emotional mastermind. And until you understand how to move around the minefield, you're gonna keep getting damaged because you're gonna step into something you're not supposed to step into, and then boom, you're gonna step into another thing. Boom. That's the whole point of the minefield, right? Okay, so part 2, right? Women need emotional security before they can drop their guard. What do I mean by that? Let's dive deeper. Most women have gone through some stuff.
What is the sound in the background?
So I need to understand that the female nature is pre-wired to be on prey mode. Okay? So the female nature is pre-wired to be on prey mode. What does that mean? A prey is like an animal. Okay, I'm going to take it out of the context just so you can understand. So this is from Myron Golden. So what he explained was a prey has to be aware of his surroundings. So it's very observant, looks around, and is able to be aware of the fact that something's coming at them, so they need to protect themselves. Okay, so that's prey mode. Predator mode is focus, direct focus. That's the masculine energy. You're driven towards something. You're driving towards something. Women are predisposed because of the female energy to be praised.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and because they're praised and they get attacked, they now get into the masculine energy to protect themselves or to stop themselves from being attacked again. That's why you have a lot of women who are independent or who are in a space where, although they may be women, they have a lot of masculine energy. Why? They've been attacked, and they had to. Sorry.
You need to edit this, dude.
Right? And they had to make a trade. They had to give up their feminine energy to be replaced by masculine energy, just so they can protect themselves and guide themselves and be aware and be able to actually defend themselves when the time comes. That could be financially, emotionally, you name it. Okay, so they've built walls, in other words. And you've got to see yourself as this person that could either use a small hammer or a bulldozer to break that wall. Now, you can only break that wall by being secure in yourself. She's going to be able to drop her guard because she now sees that your wall is a lot more secure than hers. This is why weak men can't do it. You can't get her. There's so many guys that do these things where they're trying to get someone's attention, and you think that just by being kind and flowering, sending flowers and doing this, doing that is somehow going to get her guard to drop because this guy's a nice guy. It doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is because women are pre-wired to protect themselves, and if they got their guard up, it's because they don't trust you to protect them.
So instead of you showing them that, hey, I'm nice, don't worry, I don't bite, what you need to show them is that I'm secure, I'm confident. You can come whether you like or not. It's up to you. But I'm good over here. Oh wow, I'm gonna drop my guard now. I don't need to protect myself because this guy can protect me. So the whole point is women are loyal to their security. They need to feel secure. So when you're doing whatever you're doing, you need to understand that you need to backtrack and ask yourself, am I secure within myself? Am I secure enough to show her that I've got her, that I can protect her, that I'm not scared to stand up for myself or her? This is why things like standards are key, because you need to show her that you're not scared to stand up for yourself. Because guess what? And this is not coming from someone that has always had it figured out. Like I said, you heard the previous story, but it gets worse. I got plenty of stories where I've been overlooked, I was invisible, I didn't matter, it just felt like I just did not matter, right? I know what that's like. So my point here is, in order for you to get them to drop their guard, being nice is not what needs to happen. You need to be secure. And when you're secure, you can give them the confidence in you to let their guard down. Let me hit you with a hard truth. When you don't have a vision, and you want to find love, you're playing a very difficult game. And the reason why I say that is because actually a man in his vision, in his purpose, is the most secure place you can be in. You know when you're lazy? And I'm lazy too, by the way. But you know when you're lazy? What tends to happen is she now sees that her security is in jeopardy.
It makes sense.
She now sees that what she's looking for, which was the security that potentially got her here in the first place, when you get complacent, for instance, it's no longer as stable as it used to be. And what did I say earlier?
I'm gonna make a video about all of this.
So in order for you to drive the sheep, imagine driving a car and putting no petrol in it. It's very likely going to break down. That's exactly what happens in relationships when you don't fuel or take care or drop daily deposits into the emotions that preserve that relationship. An emotionless relationship for a woman is pointless. There's no emotions involved. She's so gone, and she feels that she has every right to, because she's loyal to her emotions. If her emotions are not being looked after, she's gone, bro. She don't need to stay, and she's not going to feel any type of way about it. So here's the thing: when you're committed to something bigger, what you're showing her is that she's good, because you're going there with or without her. I'm like, I mean, you can jump in, that's cool. Well, this is where I'm going, and there's nothing stopping me. Right? When you get into that space where nothing, not even yourself, can stop you, that's when things start to change. Now, I wanna deal with a big myth, because I know there's a lot of dating advice that's going on out there right now, and I'm upset. I'm upset for you guys, because we've been told to be masculine, alpha, and all this crap. Then we've been told to be, just stop caring about whatever she says and what. Stop caring about you, bro. It all starts with you. It all starts with your self-mastery. Don't listen to guys that are telling you it's okay for you to be the way you are, because they are only making things difficult for you. Because guess what happens? Yes, some of the advice works. Like, for instance, the front end game. Okay, let me explain. So when you're an approach a woman, you're peer secure, like I just mentioned, and you're confident. You know what you're talking about, right? Cool, it works. But it only works once they find you attractive, bro. Their charisma works, but it works if they can feel like you're secure in yourself. So as much as you want to be the person that doesn't care about what he says or what he does, unless you can appear confident in how you stand, in how you feel about yourself, you need to be secure in yourself, because that security in yourself is what's going to attract her to you. You don't need to be the most handsome guy. In fact, I know handsome guys that are struggling with that because they're just as insecure as the guy that's fat, ugly, you name it, right? Nothing changed for me. I don't consider myself someone that used to be ugly, but my insecurity made women repel. It's like I had this anti-disinfectant for women. It's like, please don't touch me. I don't want you near me. That's what it says. That's what insecurity says. I'm gonna make this as clear as possible. This is not just some theory I'm throwing out. Okay, I've lived this. Right? I've been in a relationship where I've misread signs, lost the relationship, got locked off because I thought I was the good guy. I was doing everything. I was showing them compassion. I was showing them mercy. I was showing them love. I even said to them, listen, I don't even care about myself. I want you to succeed. Right? And in my head, it makes sense. I was being the good guy, which is what I've been taught to be. be kind, be gentle, be soft, take care of them, do all that crap. And guess what? I still ended up broken. I still ended up in a situation where my heart was shattered, and it's still shattered till today. I ain't recovered from that stuff. Yeah, I'm married, don't get me wrong. And I'm happy with the relationship I'm in. But the scars are permanent, bro. You can get over that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'm over it. Come on, please. But the scars, they stay.
One day.
They're there to stay. And I'm able to reuse them every single time to better myself. The rejections, the pain, the people that doubt me,
They say you only love once.
Because of one reason or
I get it now.
That stuff stays.
Everything afterwards is.
But this is why you've got to learn how to use it. And this is
just
exactly what I'm
logical.
trying to show you here. That, listen, being kind works once you've mastered how to be secure in yourself. Because then you can pick and choose when to be kind. Because there's sometimes where you simply don't need to be kind.
Stupid in love.
There's sometimes where you need to stand up for yourself. And until you're able to admit that, you're going to struggle. Until you're able to just be real with yourself and say, you know what, listen.
Is it peeping in
this
his...
person's taking a piss out of me.
What the fuck?
You're going to struggle.
His background sound and...
So if you're wondering why your relationships are falling apart, why even though you're being this great guy, this good person, something just feels off, is because you've misunderstood. Look, this is something that some of my clients who've signed NDAs...
I knew before what it means when they say you have to be a bad guy or an asshole.
This for free. I'm telling you this for free.
It's not treating them bad. Maybe a little smack them around in the bedroom. But no, it's
how to navigate female nature.
It's just not being like a nice guy like he
I'm
says.
never going to understand them. As much as I love him, as much as I see him as my hero, he was wrong. You can understand women. You just need to understand that they speak a different language. And I hope in this video you understood how the emotions that drive them are what they're loyal to. And as long as you look after those emotions, she's good. That's me being so honest with you. She's good.
I learned
but at
something.
the same time, as long as you're focusing on building, you're gonna be good too. Now, I'm not saying
this makes
that
sense.
Things may not happen, right? I'm not saying that emotions are unstable, so things can happen. One extra
That's
point,
cool.
If you're the type of guy that likes to steal girls from other people, like other people's relationships, that's something that
Oh, he's so
I struggle
few
with.
subs. That sub.
Don't get me wrong. When I was single and I didn't care about the relationship, there are some instances where it may or may not happen. I'm not going to confirm and deny that. However, now that I'm in a relationship, or when I was in this relationship, I would never take anyone serious. I'm in a relationship and you're still trying it. That just means that whatever got you here can get you out. If I can steal you from someone, then someone can steal you from me. That's my 100% belief. And once you understand that, you start to cut off anything that represents any sort of difficulty in your relationship. Do you know what's so funny? I was doing some research, as I do, and I realized that Jeff Bezos' ex-wife was someone he stole from someone else. Like, the red flags, the foundation was right there, bro. What? You took her from someone else, and what were your prerequisite for that to be the case? Like, did you pick her because she was a good woman?
She's now the richest woman in the world.
Husband? Bro, what? like, I think, honestly speaking, when it comes to dating, we have genius in this world when it comes to business and finance, but when it comes to dating,
But what do you do with all these people who cheated once, who cheated multiple times?
No IQ or whatsoever.
You leave them for themselves? They're gonna just eat themselves alive.
Partner from them, and then you're surprised she's divorcing you. What? You didn't know that?
When I first learned of attachment styles, and that 50%, more than 50% of people are secure,
I'm not expecting not to turn out.
my whole world changed. My whole world grew.
Let me tell you something.
Because I was not part of that by a mile, like not by a long shot.
Present moment you took them,
and I was like in a minority. And I thought like this was my world. I didn't know the other world.
You start to lead properly.
That is crazy, man.
Let me tell you something. Think about how much work it took for you to change. Or think about how much work it took for you to change one of your habits. One. Some of you done it in 21 days, but I know most probably took 2 years or so. Or maybe 66 days is the new average. So how are you going to offer conversation, expect someone else to change?
1 to 3 months.
Take them for who they are, as they are. That's the easiest way to handle this. And just focus on improving yourself. Because the moment you improve yourself, you give yourself the power to control your narrative. If you're keen on having a one-to-one session with myself, I've currently opened up 4 more slots. Once these slots, they're gone, they're gone. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I've got business to run, and I simply don't have the capability right now to sustain more people. So I've got 4 slots available. The moment they're gone, and they may never come back again. So if you're keen, book a call on the diary, and I'll be happy to have a discussion to see if you're the right person I can work with and actually get you to this place where you understand female nature and can build better relationships in the space of 12 weeks. Now, if you found this video valuable, please
I
share
didn't
in the
know
comments what you thought
people
about
say
what
their
we
advice
discussed.
like this.
And not just that, but don't forget to subscribe, as it does help my channel more than you know. I'm trying to get myself to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. And you subscribers,
I just have,
especially
so
if you
that's
find
good.
this valuable, is going to do a lot for my channel. Don't forget to also share this with
How to screen women. That is so crazy for me though, because out of this secure environment where people learn about security and their own worth and stuff and get past this you only love once phase, then within their world there's like all of this testing and looking for red flags, and the absence of red flags does not mean that there is green flags and all these terms. It's a whole science and it never ends, where it's all about sex. Everything around it is just fake. My feed is gonna be hilarious. Oh boy. Okay, let's cement what we have learned so far by understanding why Sigma men get all the women. And what they know, what we don't know.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Maya, and in today's video,
Not Maya. Whoops, what's happening?
the topic of discussion is Sigma males and how they attract women easier than ever because of who they are and what they represent and what that signifies to a woman, as well as how it attracts women to them without needing to chase and without needing to settle for just another person's attention. They don't need it. They don't want it. Matter of fact, they're better without it. But what is more important to them is value. What value are they adding to the value they've already found and cultivated within? Now, this is going to be not your usual dating advice of mind games, playing the cat and mouse game, and really signifying all these unhealthy patterns that don't really get you long-term success and are actually attracting people out of a place of desperation. Before we get into today's video, you guys, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It means more to me than you know, and you won't miss any videos. I have been uploading almost every day for a year and a bit, so you won't miss out on any of my uploads. So with
Is that how much work we have
let's
to
get
put in?
into today's video. A Sigma man
How
has
far
a
did she come?
confidence that doesn't come from the cars he drives, the designer clothes, the nice watches, the fancy houses, and the women he uses as arm candy. It's something that is quite significant to see a man of simplicity living a life of true moral compass that he was able to foster within himself when it comes to leading a life that brings him the fruits that nourish him. And what do I mean by fruits? The seeds that he has planted and showed up for. The seeds that provide him, like I said, with nourishment, and not feeding the weeds in his own garden that creates that lack in his life. This is something that a lot of men, have heard before is you need to show up for something greater than yourself every day. And I think where a lot of men fall short, unfortunately, is they show up for their insecurities on a day-to-day basis that dictate the quality of life they live, as well as what they settle for within how people treat them. Now, this is something that is super important when it comes to being a Sigma man, is having zero tolerance for disrespect, zero tolerance for toxicity, zero tolerance for a person's misbehavior repeating and repeating and repeating just to say you have friends, just to say you got a lover in the bed. What good is that if there is zero value it's adding to your life, to your character, to your mission, to your purpose? And like I said, if it
I
is
think
not
that's the wrong
something that is actually
description. And
providing you
if you
with
go
that
through life like
nourishment, with
this,
that value,
and you don't
why bother? A
work with
lot
what
of
you
people
have,
get into this cat and mouse game when it comes
you
to
slide into
getting a
this
woman.
next
You have to
category
show
and
up and be
just
this
block people
version of
category.
yourself that
I don't
is
know, I'm confused.
exhausting, is draining. Like, come on, men. The people who tell you how to act on dates that are all about a little bit of this, a little bit of that, not too much of this, you gotta do this. It's taking you off the course of who you are as a man. You have to stand tall in who you are, in the qualities you naturally have. Even if it's the qualities that the people on YouTube tell you to dim, by you dimming yourself, you're actually demolishing the type of man that the right woman is going to want to be with.
That's with
The more you fake it till you make it, the more you're making it to fake it. And this is something that is hardwired in a lot of people's brains is, I am not good enough, so I need to do this, this, and this to just show another
That's
person my
genius.
worth. But that is never.
I think we have enough of Maya. She can go into the corner now. Let's check out Far From Eden. I have noticed this channel a few ago. I don't know. But she was too spiritual for me. And like, there's like a huge cross in the background. So like, I don't have anything particular in against like religion. But if religious bias is so strong, it gets nasty. Let's see what she says. The video is quite long. Clueless as to why, because they don't humble and listen to man. Will they get it? Part 1. We're looking at this now because part 2 title seems very interesting, but I'm not gonna say it. Let's see if this survives.
The key is listen to men. Listen to them.
When a woman says that,
find out what their thoughts and feelings are, rather than decide what they are or even what they should be.
I thought she said obey.
I am going to admit I used to do, almost like a default. But about 10 years ago, I started listening to them. Hi, welcome back to Far From Eden. I make it a habit to watch Better Bachelor, Bjorn Andreas Bullhansen. There are so many names out there, even Alexander Grace, Homath. I regularly watch those channels because in addition to listening to the men in my life, which motivated this whole thing, they give me a good perspective on the state of affairs for you all and how you see the things. But again, the key is going in with the intention of listening and realizing that there are things to learn. So having said that, not only do I watch those gentlemen, but I watch the channels like Man Reacts, Men Only, Man Guide. I watch those, not whatever podcast, not regularly as much, but I sort of check in to see what are they seeing, what are they finding, and why is it relevant? Obviously, these men might make their living doing this. However, that does not negate the honesty and the purity of what they're saying. So I haven't made one of these videos in a while.
I don't know any of the channels you mentioned, so I don't know what they're talking about.
And I was like, I have some things to add and some things that he says to fully endorse for whatever it's worth. But what I found by listening to you guys is that it is valuable to hear what certain women have to say about the ones maybe not behaving in the best way. And that's the terms of service way I'll say it. Because we all know This is going up on YouTube. It will also be on Rumble and eventually other places, but that's yet to be disclosed. And at those places, I can speak truth fully, but here on YouTube, it still has to be a little. But if you know, you know. So let's get into this, shall we?
What?
It's a great way to check in with what's going on out there and what certain women the other channels have decided to cover, right? Because we all know there's a plethora
So we're
out
watching
there.
and reacting to her,
To use a
watching and
word from
reacting.
Three Amigos. Oh, Gen X, we and older millennials, we communicate through
I
song lyrics
reached
and movie quotes.
the next
That's where you
level.
can find one of us. And I bet a lot of you are that way anyway, because we're sort of
Nice.
one type. Anyway, oh, let's see what all is here.
Why am I 35 and still single? I feel like this is an epidemic.
Fellas, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a trend that has women completely stunned. More and more men are walking away from dating, and they're not looking back. From unrealistic expectations to changing relationship dynamics, men are choosing to opt out, and women are finally starting to notice. Let's break it all down. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
His original video will be in the link to it will be in the description. And I encourage all of you to go to that video if you haven't already. Watch it for, 30 seconds and give it a like, because it certainly deserves it, even, before my commentary is added.
Love bomb, gaslit, and ghosted all in 48 hours. I've been single for about 2 years. Legally single for 6 months. And I haven't wanted to get back into the dating.
I'm sorry. Single, legally single. Do you see that little definition switch there? I wonder if her legal husband would say the same. And if that means you've been single but legally single, then what does that contract even mean? Nothing. Because if you can just break it so flippantly, doesn't mean anything. That's why men are not signing them anymore, and good for them.
Dating world until
Oh
kind of
my
recently,
God.
and I wouldn't even say that I want to get fully back in there, but I thought, what the hell, let's give it a shot. Thinking was my first mistake. I just remember the love bombing and the gaslighting and then ghosting seemed to take more than 48 hours. Clearly, y'all have
That's hilarious,
stepped
though.
up your game. I can't even be mad at it. A little impressed. Actually, a lot impressed, because goddamn, 48 hours. Right as
Maybe that's all the time it took to find out what you were about. Did you ever think that? Like maybe 48 hours, and he's like, no. Did you ever think it might be something that you were found wanting? No, it's him being an evil man, using, and she loves to use those keywords that women throw out there. Gaslighting is one of their favorites. Why? Because he seemed interested in you? Maybe he was, until he found out more. I mean, when the women do it, that's not gaslighting, right? They just change their minds, or they're not really all the way into it. Maybe he's like, you don't have the same
Wow,
values.
who is this?
But you're not allowed to do that. You see that? You're not allowed to do that. If you do that, you're malicious. Automatically. There can
Yeah.
be no other reasons.
Yep. She
Certainly
speaks
not.
from my
That it's her
soul.
fault.
I started to figure out there was something off, he was gone. I can't be mad at that. And this is for men or women. If you're considering getting back out into the dating pool, mind you, I'm 40.
Do you hear the children in the background? Just to tell you, like, immediately I was like, wait, there are children in the background. What are you doing? You're going to make videos about yourself and how everybody's so bad to you and men are with you for 48 hours and then they peace out. Your children need you.
It's not better. It's not. It's worse. It's worse. Just get a hobby. Get a hobby. Get a dog. Get a cat. Get a hamster. It's going to be better than what's out there, I promise. Don't get me wrong. I'm probably still going to try this again in 6 months. I haven't learned yet.
She said she's been single for 2 years and acts like it's some kind of mystery. Let's break this down. 2 years of no dates leading anywhere. 2 years of scrolling through dating apps and rejecting every boring guy. 2 years of complaining about men but never looking in the mirror. 2 years of working on herself but somehow never fixing the mindset that keeps her single. And now, after 2 years, what's the conclusion? That men are trash? That modern dating sucks? That nobody is serious anymore? Or maybe, just maybe, the issue isn't men. See, a lot of women say they want a relationship, but what they actually want is the fantasy. The romanticized, picture-perfect, effortless love story. They don't want to put in the work.
Also, Can I just point out too, you're a divorced single mom. And if you are on these first dates talking about, well, I've been single for 2 years, but I've only been divorced for 6 months, honey, you're surprised why you can't find a good quality man? You're getting vetoed.
And
they don't want to compromise. They don't want to
I
self-reflect.
got
They
feminized
want to
so
find
much.
the one
I
without
I
ever
almost
being the
have
one for someone
empathy
else. So
with the
here's the
one in
reality
the
check.
clip.
If you've been single for 2 years and every man you
Because we
meet isn't
don't
good
know her
enough, there's a
size.
good chance your standards are unrealistic, your expectations are unfair, or your attitude is the problem. Because the truth is, good men are out there. They're just no longer entertaining the
I'm
women
too
who
much
don't
of a
bring
good
peace,
man.
respect, or genuine
I'm the
partnership to the
goodest.
table. So if she's been single for 2 years, maybe it's time to stop blaming men and
I
start
like being
asking the hard
naive, you
questions.
know.
People talk about how bad the national dating scene is, but you don't really get it until you are here. And I don't even fully get it because I'm not in it. I'm engaged, but my sister has gone on a lot of dates with a lot of national men, and it is just, I'm just a bystander, and it is actually the worst pain I could ever wish on someone, probably. There was this guy that they matched on like a dating app or whatever, and they've been texting, and they sometimes would see each other when they're out, but they never like went on an official date because he never asked her. And then one time I'm out with her and we run into him, and he's like chatting with me. He's like talking about how great she is. I'm like, yeah, so like why haven't you guys gone on a date? And he goes, well, she hasn't asked me. This man was 34, and I shouldn't be shocked by what I hear from men, but I am every single time. Like somehow they get you, and my jaw dropped, and I said, be a man.
Okay, and you know what that is, and you decide what that is, do you? Has anybody said, be a woman? I mean, maybe a good response to be a man is, well, I will when I find a real woman.
And then I walked away.
She's so toxic.
What do you mean she hasn't asked me?
Man, if a man makes a move, you don't know if they're gonna go to the
All right,
police
let's get into
nowadays.
it. Women always say, men don't want to be men anymore. They love to complain about how men aren't stepping up, aren't leading, aren't taking charge. But
If you
here's
take
the
charge,
thing.
you get
Who's been screaming in men's
put
faces
to
for
the
the last
ground
decade that
and
masculinity is
handcuffed.
toxic, that being a man in a traditional
Exactly.
sense is oppressive, outdated, or problematic?
It's
Women,
just double
for
standards
years,
everywhere,
society
dude.
has been pushing the idea that men need to be softer, more sensitive, less dominant. Every little thing men naturally
Yeah,
do,
then you do
being
that, and
assertive, taking
they
charge,
think
standing firm in their beliefs, has
you're
been labeled
instantly
as toxic
friend-zoned.
masculinity.
It's a double
But they
lose,
want
dude.
equality. They want equality. So then, why is it his responsibility to ask? Why is it his responsibility to pay? You either want equality or you want to
True.
be a man. But
Preach
you
it,
don't want
sister.
him to
Preach
be
it.
a man. You don't. You don't. Because that is toxic masculinity, as it says right here. That's, you know, and so you need to, I'm being sarcastic, you have to anticipate when which parts of being a man she wants and which parts of being a man she doesn't want.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's not a person, that's a puppet. And she's just mad that you're not, you don't have your strings attached. You're not manipulatable, not easily manipulated. That must be so frustrating. That's why she's mad. These men are not looking to
I love her.
be owned and used as utilities. Trying to give women what they've said they wanted. Funny, it's almost like they don't want what they said they wanted, because they don't.
So, men did what women said they wanted. They backed off. They stopped leading. They started second-guessing themselves. And now, those same women are turning around and saying, where are all the real men? You can't spend years telling men that their masculinity is dangerous, that their natural instincts are oppressive, and then act surprised when they stop being the men you claim to want.
Pikachu face.
You can't have it both ways. You wanted men to change. Well, congratulations, they did. And now what? You're mad about it? The truth is,
And now
women
we're
have
here.
spent a decade rewriting
Fuck
the rules,
this, dude.
only to realize
This
too
is so
late that the
true.
version of men they helped create.
I'm sorry, he must be young. A decade rewriting the
Like,
rules?
what the fuck?
No, they've been doing it for over 100 years, rewriting the rules. It's just, if you just now woke up or you're just going by your experiences, yeah, it's gotten worse in the last 10 years. But before that, it was, before that 10 years, it was worse than the 10 years before that. And then before that.
Yeah, I can believe
it's
that.
the camel's nose, right?
Yeah,
Once the camel's nose is stuck in the tent,
And
all
now
of a
in the last 10
the
years,
next
it's
thing you know, a whole
become
camel's in
crazy.
there. But some
And,
people didn't notice
like,
the
right
camel's
now,
nose
it's important,
or its
right,
neck
for my
or its
generation.
shoulder. And then they see the camel like all the way up to like its last rib in the tent, and they're like, wow, this camel has started sneaking into the tent. It's like, no, it's been sneaking in that tent for a really long time. You just didn't notice all the different times it like got further and further in. And that's how it gets there. That's how they move us to the left. That's how feminism progresses. A little bit at a time. That's how it's always been done. Whenever anything comes into society that they want,
Feminism in
you know,
itself
the
is not a bad
state,
thing.
the powers that be,
It's just wanting like
they don't do it all at
intellectual
once, because
equality.
then it's super noticeable. And
Because
the
every
bad repercussions are super noticeable.
sane
They do
person
little
knows
bits at
there
a
is
time where they're
physical
like, no, look, this is a
advantages,
good thing. And they
disadvantages.
astroturf it so it looks like a bunch of people want it. So that shocked me a lot about this video, that they've been changing the
But
rules
it's
for the
become
last
a
10 years. I'm like, dude,
toxic cult
you
ideology.
don't know, like,
you know?
no, that's not the case. I mean, no fault divorce. The
It's
first
being used wrong
implementation
in
of that
so
in the
many
United
on so
States
many
was
levels.
in California in 1969. I'd
And
say
men
that's
are getting the
rewriting
bad
rules
end of the stick,
by a
dude.
lot.
Big time.
Just the cultural implications. So I just wanted to add that to this. I appreciate his perspective a lot, but it's, you know what I mean? It's sort of just like looking through a toilet paper roll. You know what I mean? Because it is much broader than that, and much broader than just the dating scene. People can look back to like their family court cases 20 years ago, and they're like, yeah, that's probably when it hit its peak of being the worst. But you guys tell me if I'm wrong about this. How many decades have we been rewriting the rules? How many decades has that been going on? Really think about it.
How old is she? Like 40 or something?
Create isn't the version they actually want. They wanted men to be emotional, vulnerable, less
30 to
aggressive.
40,
But when a man
I
actually
believe.
is that way, suddenly he's not a real man. When he hesitates before making a move because
Only
he's
a
been conditioned
wise
to fear
woman
being labeled as creepy,
would say such
suddenly
things.
he's weak. Men didn't change because they wanted to. They changed because they were told over and over again that they had
Basically
to.
got told to,
And now
yeah.
that they have, the same women who demanded the change are the ones complaining that men don't act like men anymore.
Also, mothers being the dominant child raiser, right? Even in intact marriages, they're raising their boys to not expect a woman to do all these things for them. Don't you? I don't want to raise you that you expect a woman to do all this. I want to raise you to respect women. We know what the code is for that. We want you
What is
to,
it?
you know, defer to her, etc. Treat her like a princess. You know, even if you work full time and she works part time, help her with the household, everything. Like, they're raising their boys to be soft and to defer. And then these guys grow up
What does
thinking,
defer
I
mean?
know how to respect women. I know how to treat women. And
But
those
it's
are the
good
ones
if
that
you
get
treat
walked all
women
over.
good.
And I mean, because at the end of the day, women don't respect those men.
She
It's
has
a
to say
catch-22,
it more,
and you guys know it.
more
Well,
direct, but
whose
she's
fault
not.
is that? At some point,
To make
women
it, to
need to
let
take
it ring,
accountability.
really.
If you want strong, masculine men, then stop demonizing masculinity. If you want
For it
leaders,
to make
stop
sense.
attacking men for taking charge. If you want men to pursue you with confidence,
If you want leaders, start following. Stop arguing. Start cooperating.
stop calling them predators for showing interest. You can't shame men into changing and then get mad when the change isn't what you wanted. You can't push an agenda for years and then turn around and say, wait, where are the real men? They're exactly where you left them, wondering why they're being blamed for following the rules that women themselves put in place.
So, controversial take, but then again, when am I not? And even stuff that I don't think is controversial, people will still say it's controversial. So here we are. But I was thinking the other day, and I think about this a lot, and I think about why so many men are angry at women that are happy to be.
They're not angry. We saw this in one of the most recent videos I did. Like, they're not
Angry at women that are happy
at
to
you.
be child-free.
They don't strongly dislike you. That is not the case. Use that word instead of the meaner word for it. Because
Angry at women that
Isn't that
are
insane?
happy
I
to
learned
be
that with our manipulated man series.
child-free.
Goodness gracious, YouTube did not like that one. This lady too, I'm sorry, I know it's not the point, but she keeps on like messing with her face, and I'm like, nothing's changing on your face. Like, it's already done, I think. I don't know how many layers these chicks put on, and I don't know why they do it. And while they're talking, like, why do they have to do things? It's just really weird. I should know the answer to that. I should be able to explain that. I think it's a level of insecurity. Like, they don't know how to just
She's just lashing
talk
out.
to the camera. Actually, the body language, behavioral
I love her so much.
analyst guys that I watch would say it creates a barrier. People do that when there's some stress, or sometimes it can be done when they're being dishonest.
She's
I'm
a really
not saying
badass.
anything. I'm not accusing anybody, but they often will put a barrier between themselves and their audience or their interrogator or what have you, because it increases their level of comfort to have something between. I'm literally just realizing this as we're talking, as I'm talking to you, because I'm like, oh yeah. The behavior analyst guys will say that's what it is, creating a barrier. Well, why would you need to do that? That's weird.
Child-free and single, and the biggest insult they can offer us is you're going to die alone with cats or dogs or some kind of pet. And I see so many.
It's not an insult. It's not an insult. It's a warning.
Women rejoicing in this and being like, fuck yeah, pets, no children, no commitment, no raising a man like a
Wait,
second
man.
child. Where is the point where I'm losing him?
Oh my god, I haven't seen it like that. Actually, child-free women are actually a warning sign. Fuck. I haven't seen it like that now. By now. Oh my god. Because here, all of them have children. You're actually happy that you find one who is child-free. Oh, that is sick. Like a new avenue just opened. We're gonna go down that
This
road
sounds
as
like the
well.
ideal situation. Now, obviously, it doesn't apply to all women. I'm talking to women that are single by choice. I'm talking about women that choose not to have children. Obviously, this doesn't apply to the women that have husbands and are happy, and that have children and are happy, and that is a life they wanted, and they made that decision, and they're
How
very
old?
happy with that
But
decision.
like if you're
This does not obviously
40,
apply to them.
how long
But
can you
someone-
get children?
They're
I'm not
they're
sure.
trying.
I
It's
don't
funny.
know.
This has changed in a lot of these women. They're trying to make a point of not shaming people who would say make the choices that I agree with, right? Because they used to really shame that, and we started saying, hey, how come women supposedly can choose all the things and have her, obnoxious posh accent, but women can choose all the things unless what they want is a traditional family. Well, she's trying to make the case like, oh, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Look, don't attack me. It means that this message is having a bit of an effect because they no longer feel like or think that they can attack women who make these choices. Now, by and large, they still do. In real life, they still do. I have a lady who works for me,
Why would you
helping
attack?
me do this stuff. She's 23. She has 3 kids, I think 3 or 4. I can't keep up. And she made
23,
the choice
4
to marry
kids?
young, stay home, and follow her husband and be submissive and all the things, right? She gets pushback all the time. And so do her sisters that have made the same choices. They constantly get sly remarks about their choices. So that's still there. However,
By
we see
who?
a change in the fact that a woman like this is making it clear that if you're happy and you've made these choices, she's not
By who
talking
is
about
that?
you.
You don't care about
progress.
anybody else but having
I
your
know.
family. 23,
Look,
you have to
I'm
care
not
about
trying to be
4
annoyingly
children.
optimistic,
You're not gonna care about what people
but
write
it's
on
my
Facebook.
nature to be that way and to look for the hope and look for
Or
the
maybe
good
you're
things. Now,
23, huh?
just to be clear, when I
That's
point
quite a
out the
baby.
things that are moving in the direction that I think is good, I am not giving the green light to go sign that contract. I will never be in favor of a government marriage contract. I will never, because I think that's putting the government before God. I think if you need the government to, even co-sign the marriage covenant, then it's taking away, because you don't need anything in addition to that. But
So
they want
I
their
can't
little sticky
subscribe to
fingers in
that?
it. And it's sticky because when the whole thing blows up, they get $1 billion
She's
a
separating
year,
like
basically
holiness,
fleecing the man.
marriage,
Usually,
being
there's
like
going to be people that are like, well, in my case,
divine.
I know a person, my neighbor's cousin's best friend actually
It's
paid her
cool.
husband
It's
alimony.
cool. It's
I'm like,
just
I'm not talking about
if you do that, you have
exceptions.
to do all the
You'll
other
know
things as
it's
well.
generally the man's income that they siphon off to get this $1 billion. And it isn't that they get the $1 billion and they're like, ha ha ha, I stole the money. It's so important to me. They just print more money when they want to. What's important to them is that they took it from you. They took it from you. And they're propagating this idea that she deserves it. So, didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, but I think it
was a nice tangent.
a necessary one. Because it doesn't just stop with this lady putting on her makeup talking about, oh, they are angry because they say that we're going to end up with cats. No, they're like, you're going to end up with cats. You're making these choices. The choices, you know what? I wish more women understood that the choices that you make now affect where you will be later. And that it's possible you might not be making good ones, and it might not be all sunshine and rainbows when you're alone every night in your house with your animals. It might get old. You might get lonely. You might actually
is that an
realize that
insult?
this independence and individuality and everything is not fulfilling.
What is
No
she,
matter how much you
British?
lie to yourself. Or us.
British?
Women like myself that would be more than happy to die alone. If I meet the love of my life, great. If I don't, also great. I'm really content with both options. I've enjoyed being in relationships and I've enjoyed being single. I forced myself to get uncomfortable with being single so that if that ever was the reality for the rest of my life as a woman that doesn't want children and who finds it hard to meet men that don't want children, will I be okay with it? Yes. And I.
Well, if you're going to be okay with it, why do you have to practice it? And practicing it now, knowing it's practice, is not the same as living it.
Kind of low-key insult.
We're not telling the
Put this-
truth. You know what I think I'll do too? After I'm done with this, I think I'll rewatch this video and really pay attention to the times that she brings her hand forward and is doing unnecessary whatever, and what she's saying when she's doing that versus when she takes it away and she says something. I bet that's interesting to do. You guys go back to the Men Only channel and watch it like that and see if you're a psycho like me and you find that interesting. Because
She
I
is a
bet there's
psycho.
a pattern. I bet there's a pattern there.
I was content with that quite a while ago. So both suit me, both I'd be okay with. But whenever you say this, there's a lot of men that really hate it and they try to throw spinster at you, or they try to throw old or damaged goods or tainted or, you know, the bog standard misogynistic bullshit that we hear all the time. And I was thinking to myself, why do these men get so angry? Why do they hate the idea of me doing something by myself in my home alone? That
Who
has
would
nothing to do
ever
with them?
say that to you
They don't
unless
hate it. Why do you think
you
that they
hurt
hate
them
it?
in a
Maybe
way?
they're just
What?
describing. It's not like it's
As
not
if it's
a
like they
vindictive
talk about
thing.
this as if it's like a common
it's kind
thing
of like,
happening.
why are you choosing that? Why would that
Is
be
it
preferable
like
to
that
you?
in British?
Just so you know, the trajectory of this
Britain?
is this.
Britain? I think
And
I
I tell you
know
the
how to
conclusion I drew
talk
from this may not fully
British.
be the truth, but it's what I think is to be the truth about a lot of misogynistic men. And that is that men really hate their own company, and that these types of men, not all men, and that these types of men really don't know how to be alone because the voices in their head are too painful, the trauma, the wounds from childhood, all this stuff comes up, all the things they don't want to face. That
That's what women do, and that's why we always have noise, like television's playing or this is playing, and we don't value the silence that men do. Men value quiet, peace, silence a lot more than women do. And I know that when there is silence, that's when you can hear your own thoughts more. Which one runs from that the most? Projecting heavy here.
they've constantly ignored since they were children, that comes up, and the silence is too loud. And because the silence is too loud, they can't stand being by themselves. So because women are now very okay with that, we will often sit in our trauma and our wounds and our pain, or we take ourselves to therapy or journal. We might do all of it, and we're very okay with it. The idea of a woman being okay with something they're not, I think they're jealous of. On top of that, if those women are okay with that and they choose to go and be single and not involve themselves with men, and not have a partner, that means there's more of these men left over about a woman doing emotional labour for them, which means they're forced to be in the house, in their head. And I think, and I don't think these are all the reasons, but I think these are two of the large, big reasons. I think that's really uncomfortable for them. Because for me, if I met a man and he said, I really want to have a family, I wouldn't be like, how dare you want to have a family? And if I met a man and he said, I really want to be by myself, I don't want to date somebody, I'd be like, good for you, bro. Yeah, you see so many of these men that when women are like openly opting into it, because they don't want to do that, and because they can't fathom doing that, they think it must be a lie. Because men think from their perspective that we think somewhat like them, even though we don't.
But you can't do it alone.
Women often think the men might think,
You have to know somewhat, somehow.
Yep, you're doing it right now. And also, they think it's a lie because
what am I missing
it's
here? What
very
is going
likely
on,
a
dude?
lie, and they can see the outcomes. They know the rate of SSRIs/antidepressants. Like, okay, I call it a fairy tale if I didn't respect fairy tales so much.
Actually do, we are quite diverse. I think a lot of men think, I can't imagine doing that. So how are you able to do that? And because I don't understand it, what do? We don't understand something and we are ignorant. We become angry. We shout at it. We end up projecting our inner pain that we feel towards that situation. So if we're not okay with something and you can do it easily, that triggers us. And I honestly think that for all the women I know where I say, how would you feel about dying alone with cats? How would you feel about dying alone without family? How would you feel about, just going to a coffee shop with all those other little old ladies? How would you feel about that? So many of them, the ones that don't want children or the ones that are really sick of dating shitty men, they're already content. But loads of men I know are not content with that idea. And loads of men I know can't imagine doing that. And I honestly think it's because when you sit in silence and when you're in your aloneness, and lots of men are used to distracting themselves, but as you get older, you can't distract yourself in the same way because your boys are married and your boys have families and your boys have kids.
If they have families and then where are the little ladies that you're going to talk to coming from? I'm not good at math, but if they're all off with their partners, they're all off with their wives, who are you sitting and talking to? Like, what are you, I guess the ones that didn't get married, like, what do you, it doesn't make any sense, lady. And who's the one going off about? Like, this is a complete confessional. Like, you don't see it, but you're telling us so much more about you than you are about men. You don't seem to know
The way she
first
said
thing, ma'am.
shitty man,
You really don't.
she's very butthurt of
She doesn't
something.
do the listening.
That's why
enough.
she's ranting something
Like, what are
randomly.
you even talking about? These are not men that these are not, it's not how they are, okay?
Kids, you are now
As in
forced to sit in
randomly,
that
because
aloneness. And men
the
since
stuff she
childhood have
says
never faced their
doesn't
aloneness
make
and have
sense
never
to me.
faced their pain and have never faced their trauma. And so
As
because
if it's like a normal
with nobody
thing.
being their companion and either helping them through it or serving as a
Like,
distraction,
what
that
circles
scares
are
the fuck
you
out of them. And to add to that, I also think this is the reason why a lot
going
of men want
around
children.
talking
I
with?
mean, I have a whole different take on this, and that's for a different day because I'll be here forever. But I think a lot of men want children because once you've got the girl and once you've got the kids, if your girl ever decides that she's not okay with the treatment you're giving her, because men somehow think that they're entitled to unconditional love, and they don't realize that your girl can unconditionally love you and still leave you.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I mean, there's like how much Botox?
You're just making a
We
contract
have
with
no
everything and out of everything.
facial expressions. And I don't know, the dead eyes of a shark. I like.
That's not what the unconditional love is. That's you want a girl to unconditionally stay for your BS. But because a woman might.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are they the only ones that do things that are annoying or whatever? Because women
Exactly.
don't have any of that. Yeah, you stay through the BS. That's right, you do. You stay through people's good times. Do you know what for better or for worse means, lady? I mean, how
That's
strong
right.
are we? How strong are we women if we can't ride out some storms and forgive and have grace for people? We've been told that that's taking men's BS and that we don't know our self-worth when we do that. But it's a complete lie through propaganda, movies.
Yeah, it's such a lie.
Even your counselor
True.
will tell you that stuff. But you ask people who the happiest people are. It's the people that have made that commitment, stayed true to that commitment, have ridden out the storms, because there are people who have done that. It's
Yes,
rare.
that is love. You love each other.
But this lady is just saying things that she
You
wants
do shit
to
for
be
each other.
true.
Might one day turn around and go, this behavior isn't good enough, I'm not happy, and instigate a divorce. Well, at least if I've got the kids, I've got somebody there to look after me and love me unconditionally. And I've been having this conversation a lot recently where I say, children do
It's
not love you
self-made problems,
unconditionally.
dude.
They are dependent on you because you are literally their means of survival. Once that child gets to the age of 15, 16, sometimes even younger, and realizes you're a piece of shit, they will not unconditionally love you anymore. Once a lot of children grow up and realize who you are as a person, that unconditional love goes out the window. If anything, the wife that stays by your side through thick and thin, as long as you're not a total piece of shit and it's actually reasonable things to stay with somebody through.
She's
that's
talking about
unconditional
very
love.
special cases.
That's unconditional love. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth. I actually have a lot more sense to give on this.
Not everybody
because
is
I
like
have
that.
a lot of opinions and I spend a lot of time observing and talking to men in so many different ways where some of them tell
And for
themselves
this
realizing they're
cases,
telling on
she's
themselves.
right.
And I will ask them key questions, whether that be
But
through my
it's-
job, coaching, or through.
Oh my
Like what?
God, her job is coaching. And she
It's
said
like 1%.
that they tell on themselves without realizing they're telling on themselves. Do you see why I had to make sure you guys saw this video?
The worst.
Imagine having this little self-awareness. Like, lady, that is exactly what you've been doing this whole entire time.
Just everyday life things, work that I used to do, working in all different backgrounds, being on the train, having a conversation with a guy that's married but wants me to not realize he's married because he just took his ring off 5 seconds before talking to me.
I mean, she
Loads
must
of
have been
backgrounds where I
hurt.
talk to men, I will ask them specific questions where I know they're going to tell me something they don't realize they're telling me, and they tell them themselves all the time. And so for me, a lot of these men that are married unhappy and they're cheating, or a lot of these men that are
But she
angry at
could
women are
be
making the
just
choice
full of
to
shit.
choose to live without them, a lot of it's because they're scared of being left behind, because we actually do better at being by ourselves than they do.
A few things she says
You do better at being by yourself than they do. That's not true.
are
And
weird.
we're going to have a part 2 to this. I'm so excited. We're going to also have a part 2 because it's long, but it is necessary. So hold that thought.
Oh, we're at the end of this video
lady.
already? Crazy.
We're going to continue with all of these copes about how, oh, it's totally fine if we're alone at the end. Yet you're seeking a relation. Like, no, it's not true. And I know you
Humans are
guys,
meant
nobody wants to be alone.
to
but
be social, to be together with
even
other
Paul
people.
said it is better for a man to be alone. You know what
Wanting
I mean?
to be
But
alone is just a
I don't think the
phase.
same is true for women.
That's what I thought for myself
And if we
also
don't
to be the
start
best,
making
but it's
better
not.
decisions, and some of us, it is kind of too late because we have masculinized
It goes
ourselves
against
through
nature.
trying to compete with men, and we have had too many relationships, and we've been a 304, right? And that does ruin your ability to pair bond and to have a true and solid relationship with the person you're going to commit your entire life to. Like, you become less able to do that. But if women don't start making better choices as a whole, this whole thing falls apart. And I don't see it turning around
It's
anytime
already
soon.
too late.
The
Yeah,
progress
it's already
is too
too late.
minimal, too slowly. And the pressure and the
It's so
propaganda
engraved in
is huge,
society.
'cause the state
With
does not
double
want a
standards and
nuclear family.
everything. It's gonna
But
take so
I'm gonna
long.
keep
Oh my
hoping
god, dude.
for
Men are
some
fucked for
kind
a long
of
time.
sight
For a long
of
time,
it
dude.
turning around. And even if it's not going to turn around as a whole, I want to at least wake as many men up as I can so they don't walk right off the cliff. And try to speak truth, and whatever women can open up their ears and hear it, the better for society. Because we need the better women to call out the worse women. Because nobody listens to men anyway. But that's it for this installment. Next installment is going to be in the next video.
What a
I
giga
love you
chat.
guys so much.
I love
Please
her.
protect your peace. Guard it with everything you have. Feed your souls. And I'll see you on the next one.
Okay. That was a good one. Man. The way the British girl said all that smack as if it's normal. You can't call her crazy, man. That is her reality. Somewhere this is reality. You have to think about this. You can't hate the player. You have to hate the game. It's always like that. She's gonna have to have. She has to own up to her, whatever, but only for herself and in her ultimate vicinity. Nobody else. She doesn't have to show nobody else. But we're connected all of the internet or whatever. Who, you know, you can immediately react with her. It doesn't matter. But it becomes like it becomes normalized more and more, these sort of things. And it just feeds into this loop of what has been going on for decades, as she says. Of just putting men in a very bad spot, man. All because we have testosterone. There is nothing you can do about it, man. Masculinity is toxic of its nature. If you say there is a hunt, how did she explain it? That is absolutely true. We are the initiator. We are the ones. You wanna deny that? Like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm gonna get myself a little snack, and I'm gonna watch part 2, like right after the snack, because this is so fucking good. I love her so much. What's her name? Far from Eden. The way she attacks permanently is so good. That's so cool. Okay. I'm gonna get a snack. Let's listen to my last song, dude. It's so epic. Wait, how do I do this? Where's my thing?
I know words feel empty in the dark, but hear me out, life is worth staying for. You don't know what's ahead. 5 years from now, you could be laughing, alive, unstoppable. The universe would feel your absence, even if you think no one would care. You having met everyone you somewhere, someone is waiting for you. Sunlight on your skin after a cold night. The smell of rain on pavement. Your favorite song at 2 a.m. Life is made of these moments. Depression lies. It says this pain will never end, but the face stays the same. One day, without reality, the way to live. One day, but it can also the way will lift. The body can trap you, but it can also heal. Your presence ripple through the world. A kind word, a helping hand. It matters. Someone will only survive because you exist. You are not your darkest thoughts. Like a storm, this will pass. Just hold on. This chapter is dark, but not the whole book. The best part might still be ahead. You matter, even if you don't believe it yet. I do.
Dude, you know what I ordered from Amazon? I got insane sweets. Like caramel syrup and vanilla syrup and more like chocolate stuff. And I bought a lot of Nutella, like a lot. It was expensive, but it's so cheap compared to when you buy like small thing. So that's cool. Okay, let's watch the second part here. It should be here. Is it this? Because it has a different title. Yeah, it looks like it. So this one is more recent, a day more recent, but has almost doubled the views. That's cool.
But they never listen to men. Like, really listen.
Okay, men want it would happen, and then woman. Why is woman spelled like this? What is this, dude? I'm gonna do that too now.
Because they always have this idea
That's
that,
so cool.
you know,
Let's see.
men are predatorial, that traditionalism is oppressive.
Yeah.
And I mean tradition like 1800s tradition. I don't mean happy wife, happy life, soft life, housewife situation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when women like worked and helped in the field and like made their own bread and stuff like that. Now, yeah, that doesn't really jive with modernity as much, but you can get as close
You know
to
what?
it
The
where
times
you're actually
back then were
contributing
so
to his
hard.
life.
If
Oh my
you didn't
gosh,
help
I
as a
haven't
woman,
said
like
hello yet.
50-50,
Hi,
that's
welcome to Far From
actually
Eden.
what the fuck are you doing?
This is part 2 of my coverage
You
of
better
a
be
fairly
doing
recent
housewife then.
men-only video.
For how hard it
And
was,
in
holy
the first
fuck.
one, which I encourage you to go back and watch that. In the first, not right now. In the first one, I was talking about how, you know,
What is her
I
dog?
listen
Look
to,
at this.
or
I
I
love
watch
this
like
dog.
Bachelor and Bjorn Andreas Bullhansen
It looks
and
like a Shiba.
Alexander
It
Grace.
has the
And
foxtail. I want to see the
there's just
face.
several that I watch
Okay,
because
but
I
the
want to
ears
know
are.
their perspective on the goings on in
It's still a
in
cool
society,
dog.
dating, marriage, etc. Are they seeing any change? Is it getting worse? What do they really think about it? What do they really feel about it? Coming from a place of like, I can learn and that they're telling the truth. Because if you just think that they're just lying or whatever, which is this first woman, bless you. Please hit the like button, by the way. Help YouTube recommend it to more people. I'm trying to
I
warn
will.
men so they don't head right off the cliff thinking, I found a good one. And you know, she's really sweet, because a lot of you men are like, yeah, I thought the same thing until I looked across the room in family court and saw her at the other table shooting daggers at me, accusing me of all kinds of stuff, even with the children. So it's not safe when there's a society and a government that not only allows it, but encourages it. So I feel like one of my jobs is to like, do not go forward. She can seem totally nice and totally lovely. And you can't tell.
I
You can't
really want to
tell.
know how old she is.
And you don't know if
I
she's
think
just going
38.
to change when she's not happy or when her hormones, you know, do whatever they're going to do. Like
Man, hormones
perimenopause, etc.
have the last say.
How she's going to adjust to the change of when men don't pay as much attention to her anymore. And if that's the only way that she's ever seen her self-worth, even though that's what they accuse you guys of. You see at different ages when they tend to pull the plug on their marriages. You see a lot of it 35, 40, around that age, when they start to become aware of the wall, because the wall can hit and that doesn't mean they're aware of it. So when they become aware that there's a wall, a lot of times they pull the plug. So you got to go prove that they're still hot or whatever, right? And then there's another group where it happens a lot with, and that's perimenopause. And that can happen, you know, from 45 to 60. Like that's where you get your gray divorces. That's where you get, maybe, allegedly, I don't think it's allegedly, it's not court, but the lady that we covered a few videos ago, the lady.
A divorce
53
must
and
be
I was married
horrible,
for
dude.
24 years, and I'm out here in the streets getting D pictures.
All the stress,
I'm like, I
all
smell
the emotions.
perimenopause. Ew,
Oh
I
my
probably
god.
shouldn't say smell.
And then
Anyway,
financial
let's get into part 2, and I
custody
ended
of kids.
it where this
Holy
lady
fuck.
was. I think she was done talking. She might have another whatever.
I hope I never
But
have to
she
go
was
for a
basically
divorce.
talking about how men
I
are
hope
saying
someday
that these
I
women
can marry,
who
but
act a
man,
certain way and
if I
think
don't
a
have the
certain way
money,
are
I'm
just
not
going to end
gonna
up with
marry.
cats, and they say that
I'm
because
gonna have to
they're
have
angry at
money
women.
that I have
And
left
it's
over, you
because
know, for
this is what she
bullshit like
said,
that.
that men don't like to be alone because they can't handle the silence.
Unless it's like a dream of
because
my
then they
wife,
have to deal with their trauma.
I will give her
But for
the best
women,
marriage, you know.
they've dealt with it. They've sat with it, I think, trying to be like, yeah, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Nothing's my fault. Nothing's my fault. Nothing's my fault. Things just happen to me. Right? That's super productive and
So
super
we are still
healing.
at the British
I
girl.
guess when you're externalizing
I
blame,
wonder how much more she has to say.
like, you don't have any anymore. You're like, oh, I've done the work. So it's the men, you say. Didn't you guys know that? It's you guys who are worse off alone. These are your fears you're saying. It's not that you're realistic and you know that we as humans are not supposed to be alone, and that you're honest and forthcoming with saying, yeah, life is better with a companion. When, I can hear you guys right now, when they're not disrupting your peace, but a companion that adds to your life and even contributes to your peace. I know you guys are like, what is that anymore? I know, but it used to be the case. Anyway, so as the young people would say, she's coping hard. Mm-hmm.
It is better
Defense
together. You
mechanisms,
can do
one
much
might
more.
say. So let's carry on with her. I know we have to. I want to see what the only man has to say about her. See if it's the same as what I've been saying.
Let's see.
And if you're triggered by this, then this probably applies to you, because you're a happy person that's, in your bubble, and this doesn't apply to you. This will have no effect on you. So if it does, maybe take a moment to reflect that maybe there might be some truth behind it.
She's
If
so
you disagree with
passive
this,
aggressive bitch.
it means that I'm right. If you agree with this, it means that I'm right. That's convenient. Good to know that you're right all the time. Oh, by the way, she's a coach. Don't worry, there will be other women. And if you want the full experience of this one, it's at the end of the last video.
She's literally saying that men want a wife like their mother, a woman who sacrifices everything for the family, a woman who puts her husband and kids first, a woman who, God forbid, actually believes in traditional roles. But here's the spin. They claim their mothers and grandmothers didn't do this out of love, but out of fear and lack of choice. And since women today have choices, they refuse to be like the women before them. They don't want to sacrifice, they don't want to serve, and they certainly don't want to prioritize a man. Well, congratulations. You have all the choices in the world now.
Look at her
So why
going
is
like
it
this.
that, despite all these choices, modern women are more
I love
unhappy,
her.
more single, and more confused about relationships than ever before? Why, with all this freedom, are so many women still failing to find the love they claim to want? Here's the thing. Men aren't looking for a servant. They're looking for a partner. But the problem is, modern women have rebranded selfishness as empowerment. They
Oh
believe that
my
a healthy
god, that is so
relationship
good.
means never sacrificing, never compromising,
Yeah.
and never considering a man's needs. They say, I'm not like my grandmother. I have
That is
choices.
so exact.
Yes,
Holy shit.
you do. And you're
That is
choosing wrong.
just what happened
Your
to me.
grandmother may not have had the options you do, but she had something most modern women lack: wisdom. She understood that real love isn't just about taking, it's about giving. She understood that building a family requires effort from
Exactly.
both people. She
It is.
understood that putting someone else first
But that
doesn't
is
mean losing
so
yourself.
basic.
It means creating
If
something
that
bigger than
lacks,
yourself. But modern women, they scoff at
you're
that.
so confused
They
to
think that
question
being in a
yourself, you
relationship
know?
should be effortless.
What the fuck,
They
man?
also don't, I'm going to be kind, they also don't realize there's anything bigger than themselves. They don't realize there's anything bigger or better than satisfying your own hedonistic wants and calling them needs. But yes, when you pour into a family, when you pour into a man and your children out of selflessness,
Once children get involved,
it comes back to you. That's not why you do it, but of course it does. It's that way. It's almost like God made it that way, you know? But when you can't see past yourself, we were raised, the whole era of self-esteem and all that stuff, I think it was a mess because it was really about putting yourself first, putting yourself first, putting yourself first, and thinking that all suffering is bad, when in reality, it builds character. When putting somebody else above you
that is so true.
is love. What if?
That is so
what if the
true.
woman put the man above her, and the man, which they do, does all these things that puts the woman above him, and then she puts him above her. And
Exactly. That's what I'm
well,
saying.
goodness gracious, things would be rising to the top.
Exactly.
And
dude.
it would be bigger than both of you.
Yes.
Women cannot comprehend that.
That is exactly how it has to be. How
as if
I think it
they
has
are
to
their
be.
own gods.
Because it's the most
Goddesses.
potential.
You'll notice a lot of them talking about goddess this and goddess that. It's themselves.
It's
and
the most
the Bible says
infinite.
They're jealous. They're jealous of the man's role. When the woman's role is pretty awesome. Anyway.
That men should serve them while they do whatever they please. And then, when they end up single at 35, scrolling through dating apps, wondering where all the good men have gone, they'll still blame men for not wanting to commit.
Where are all
Ladies,
the good
no
men
one is forcing you into the
gone,
roles your
and
grandmothers
where
had.
all the
But let's not
nights?
pretend that rejecting those roles has made you any happier. You have choices now. Maybe it's time to start choosing better.
I was just reminded of what a man recently told me. Because like I said, I listened to them, not just online. That's not what started this whole thing. It was
I wanna
listening
know
to the
what
men
you
in my
listened to.
life. And I don't know what all of a sudden opened my ears, but my ears opened, thank God. And I could suddenly see the men in my real life and what they're going through and how they're experiencing it.
Okay, so she's like an
And
online coach or something.
One man recently said to me, yes, they think that they don't want children or they don't want, a lifelong relationship, that they're going to cooperate and all this stuff. They think that they don't want those things, especially the children one. They think that because they still have the options. Those choices, even though they've said they're not going to make them, are still on the table. It's very different when all of a sudden the egg carton is empty and you've hit the wall and you don't have this array of men anymore from which to choose, which you think you can choose them because they'll sleep with you, but that doesn't mean they'll choose you for a wife. Anyway, they think that they don't want to choose these things when they still have the option to.
Just as a side note, in my area, that's my belief. If you don't have children, you're good to go. Doesn't matter your age. But then you're probably gonna have to want children. Because I think that's what people want here. But the first thing is very, very true. As long as you don't have children, it's free game. And I find it fascinating that I'm saying this because I believe it's different in other areas, especially because of the British girl. That once again opened my eyes on how location, holy shit, dude, you have whole nother beliefs, languages, religions just by location. That's so crazy. That's why I find fascinating when these different countries far away from each other without internet had like same experiences or like evolution, you know. It's fascinating. It's like there is a plan. Yeah.
Things do change when suddenly those options are not available to you anymore. And that is something that he said women don't see
I
that.
didn't
And I was
quite
like,
get that one.
you know, I think that's true.
Because
I
they
think it's
have the
very true.
options, they
And
say they
it's
don't want
important to
kids.
listen to, I mean, he's not inexperienced with, you know, talking to women and seeing the choices they make and stuff. So it's a valuable point of view. And
So
I
once
think you have to
they
do more
run
than
out of
find
eggs,
red
which I
pill
find an
content
amazing
online
analogy, because
and
that's how women work, as far
watch
as I'm
that
to
in order to do it.
understand.
I think that it
They
needs
get
to come from
periods, and then
an
at some
authentic
point,
place. And whether the red
no
pill
more
content
eggs,
shows you
no
in
more
real life
children.
men that you know and love and what's happened to them, and you have real empathy for them. But at least, even if there are people online who are just
But I'm not a
regurgitating
specialist.
red pill talking points, at least it does share the message, because it's important to warn men of what the real situation is, especially the men in the church, because they're being told a totally different thing. And they're getting surprised. Anyway, let's see what this young lady has to say.
Why am I 35 and still single? I feel like this is an epidemic in the world. You have so many awesome women that are just out here looking for a good partner, I cannot stand dating websites. Me and my cousin, who is about 9.5 years younger than me, downloaded Hinge on a pop the balloon night just for fun. And when I say matched with a few people, but literally deleted it within 48 hours because I just couldn't deal.
I think Hinge
Like,
was
I
for
need
like
to
if you
connect
have
with
some
someone
mental
in person. I need to
stress,
see what your vibe is. I can't just connect with you based off of
and people
surface
get
level
matched by
things
their
or,
mental
you know.
That's
whatever
actually a wise thing for her to say, because
distress.
women, we really do find personality and mannerisms and stuff like that attractive. It's really a lie to say that we look at a picture and that's attractive as far as a mate. You know what I mean? Like a real companion. It just isn't. And I've learned this too. This has been solidified. It's not just my own life, but I've watched this, interestingly, watching trials. That's one of my hobbies, is to watch trials. And I watch it where there's a chat and everything. And when a man will get up who's, you know, an expert witness or any kind of witness or whatever,
Oh,
and
okay.
he's knowledgeable and confident, he can have a receding hairline. He can be not as tall. He doesn't have to be a trad, as you say. And the women will fawn over him in the chat because he can have a certain type of a voice or a certain type of an accent. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, because it's more of that stuff. Whereas a man picks up all these visual cues from a woman, just like face value. They instantly know all kinds of stuff about us. They can tell our level of purity a lot of the time just in our eyes. They can see it. They really, the way we move,
Level
etc.
of purity.
They can tell a lot
Wow.
in those details. I think, unfortunately,
That's
the
fucking
propaganda has
honest.
taught you guys to ignore a lot of those instincts or excuse when you see things that would be red flags. You've been taught, no, you're judging. That's your man badness doing that. But innately, men do have that ability, whereas women, not so much. Not so much. It's not what really. Real good relationships are not built upon a woman's first impression of a man or pictures of a man. It's just not. But men are much better at that. So it's almost like the women shouldn't even be able to see, and they should just be on there, and then the men pick them, and the women don't get to pick. What if that happened? Maybe a good idea for a waiting
Did you
dating
just
site.
say it?
I would call it a waiting
Wow.
site. Is that a Freudian slip?
What the fuck?
Okay. All right. Back to you, lady.
$1 trillion
You're probably lying about.
idea.
Yeah, I just
Did
feel
she
like
just say
society
that? What
has
the fuck?
just taken a turn. Social media, although it's a blessing in a lot of ways, I feel like it's a curse because everybody is so accessible and nobody's willing to commit to one person or work on anything or kind of like fight through anything because, oh, well, I'll just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
You know,
Next. Just block.
here's a woman who doesn't have her
And
standards
next.
as high or
Very few men could just move on to the next one. She's talking about a very small number of men, and she's
Men
probably
can't do
talking
anything.
about men who are sort of the pickup artist types that have
Yeah.
situationships because
That's how
they
you know.
because they can have multiple women. Like that's a few. You seem
Like,
to
what is
be
their standard?
ignoring a lot of perfectly wonderful, albeit average men. That's what you're ignoring. And you don't even realize it. You are like this, and you're like, oh, these men are all this way. It's like, I know that's not, I know you're doing this because what you're describing is not possible for most men. Because women reject them. They don't have these options. They don't have luck on dating sites. You know how many men are on there and never receive anything? Not one person. And then there's a few men, the Chads, the Tyrones, that get all the attention.
Tyrone.
You're picking those men. Silly.
She made a point.
you know, will turn a
I
blind
don't know
eye to
how
certain
truth it
things.
is because I'm not a
And it's
woman,
just
but I
not
guess I
fair.
can
It's
believe
not
her
fair.
because she's
So
saying as a woman
I
to a
know
woman.
if I'm willing to be committed, loyal, dedicated, and really pour into a person, there has to be at least one other person out there that has the same morals and values. But I just don't get it.
All right, let's get into it. She's 35, still single, and now suddenly, she's realizing something's wrong. She's looking around, seeing all these women in the same boat, and now she's calling it an epidemic. No, it's not an epidemic, it's a consequence. For years, these women have been told, focus on your career, travel, live your best life. You don't need a man.
Look how
Men
she
are a
nods.
bonus, not a necessity. And guess what? They listened. They put dating on the back burner, rejected the good guys, and convinced
She's so
themselves that
epic.
settling down was something they could do whenever they felt like it. And now, at 35, the reality is hitting hard. The dating
That's how
pool
it
is
is.
different. The attention isn't the same. The options aren't as exciting. The guys they want are either taken or uninterested.
This
And the
is so
ones who
good.
are interested, oh no, they don't want those guys. See,
I-
here's the
I'm so
problem.
butthurt. That's
For
why I
years,
enjoy
these
it.
women had all the leverage. They were young, attractive, and had endless options. But instead of choosing a solid, dependable man, they chose to play the game. They chased excitement. They ignored the guys who would have actually committed. Now, they're looking around, realizing the game is over. And they don't like the outcome. They say, where are all the good men? The answer? They got married. They moved on. They stopped playing games. And let's be real.
No. You rejected them, and they're alone.
Where's
Do you
the
know how many men
streetwise
are in my chat
Hercules to
that have been
fight the
single
rising
for
odds?
a decade or more? I know you guys are all going to share your stories now, and that's great because this is, again, how I learn. Men in real life, content creators, and you all who comment and email me daily with your multitude of stories. What happened to them? They made do. They made their lives. They found hobbies. They found God. They dedicated themselves to, reading scripture and finding nature, building that cabin, because they had to. They had to. These are men who wanted families. They wanted families. They wanted children. They wanted a wife. But you, people like you, had to play around and treat men as disposable. Date this one, date that one. I'm still finding myself. I need to establish my career. Date this one, date that one. Because of superficial reasons, not in alignment of values and character, right? And those men you rejected, I mean, yes, some of them got married and then divorced, but they're alone. Nobody talks about them.
Hello, Ado
You know, this
supporter.
male
What's up?
loneliness epidemic, who do you think those men are? They're not just invisible to women, like they're invisible in general. And it's infuriating to me.
When these women were 25 and had guys lined up in their DMs, did they care about the epidemic of lonely men? Did they feel bad for the average guys who were ignored and overlooked? No, they were too busy living their fun, single, independent life. Now the tables have turned, and
Look at
instead
her
of
face.
taking accountability, they're acting like this is some kind of unexpected tragedy. It's not an epidemic. It's not bad luck. It's the result of choices. Ladies, if you don't want to end up asking, why am I still single at 35? Maybe start making different choices at 25.
Okay, if you're single and in your 20s or 30s, I have a genuine question for you. How do you differentiate between having very high standards for yourself and others and having unrealistic expectations? Because
Listen to people who are smarter than you. Listen to what the men are saying and be honest about who you are and what you have to offer that he would want. Women going around, I'm a 10, I'm a 10, I'm a 10. I think I'm a 10. I think he should value my education. Because I have this education, I think I deserve this. No, you don't get to decide the value of those things. As the Godfather would say, the marketplace decides.
That's
The
good.
men decide. They're the ones shopping for women. Women understand shopping, right? If men are shopping for women,
You're
you
watching
have
this.
to be what it is they want, what it is they would pay more for. Sorry to use that analogy because it involves money, but like women
We're
get that.
watching
So
a
if they don't
woman
value
attack other
education in women,
women,
if they don't like argumentative women, if they're interested in
and I
real
love her for it.
femininity, and you don't
She's
have
so
those
right
things,
about everything she says.
but you expect
And I love it so
a
much
bunch of
because I'm
different things in
butthurt
men,
and everything is
yeah,
so real to me.
it's not that hard, but it requires humility. It requires humility, and that I think is the disconnect. Because I don't
I swear they
think
just don't have
we're
any
doing real
humility.
great at the
That
humility
is so
part of
right.
it.
Oh my
And I
god.
think we have to
That
define
is
what
so
are
right.
standards, because
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying
what
as
you're
well.
talking about are definitely certain expectations. And a lot of women think, okay, here's my standard, here's my expectation. And let's say, just for argument's sake, that you go forward and here's her level of expectation, and let's say he meets it, right? Well, and let's say you're married. Well, what happens when, he's going through a rough patch and he sort of falls short of those expectations or what have you? Well, then we just gotta time for a divorce because, you promised me. And the unspoken part of that is, well, I had this expectation for you and you met my expectations on the day that I wore the white dress and said the things. And now you don't meet my
For
expectations.
good and bad times.
So therefore, you left the marriage before I even filed.
There is actually no reason
I
to
know how
ever leave
crazy
a
that sounds.
marriage besides when the husband
Doesn't it
physically
explain a
attacks the wife.
And what's even worse is
Everything, mental warfare,
it's not only that
everything
maybe the
that
man's going
has to
through a
do
rough
with
patch,
anything
right?
of
Maybe
other
he's
sorts
human
other
and he
than
made a
domestic
mistake here or
violence
there, whatever.
or
Because
mental abuse,
guess
I
what,
suppose.
sweetie?
Everything
You
like
too.
violence, abuse.
What if, as she goes through life, she starts
If you leave,
realizing
you're not
how much she
staying in the
deserves,
bad times. These are the bad
and
times you
maybe
have
that
to figure
standard or
out together.
expectation goes up.
And it's all figure
Well,
outable. I have to
now
stress
he's not
again, like
meeting them,
abuse and stuff
so
is
now it's
no
like,
go.
well, he's a reject now.
Any form.
This is a problem.
Other than that, if you
Of
don't
even
stay,
thinking
why did you
this way.
marry?
Starting out even thinking that way. Why don't you pay attention instead of okay, go with me on this. Instead of women thinking that they go out and they choose who's good enough
Maybe.
for them and who meets their expectations, right? What if it was more like, I don't know, 200 years ago, because I'm the Little House on the Prairie chick. Bear with me, okay? You young guys, bear with me. What if it was like 200 years ago and the men chose? The men had their choice. And
But it's not 200
fathers
years anymore.
weeded out
That's
the
the
ones
argument.
who were lacking in character, right? So what if the men say there's a man who's doing well for himself, we'll say he's upper middle class, whatever that is, right? So he's going to have more ability to choose like the prettiest women, the most feminine women, the best cooks, all those things, right? The ones who seem like they would be good mothers, that come from good families. He's going to have the ability to choose from that pool, right? And therefore that pool of women is going to have a higher level of man because they're on the same level. Same would be true if you come from like if the man comes from like more of a lower class. Yes, his value is centered on what he can provide for the woman and the family. Just as her value is dependent upon what kind of mother she would make and how pleasing she is
No,
to
I'm
him,
streaming for like 15 years.
right? And that worked. Ignore
You
what
believe
they
it or
tell
not.
you. What they tell you about oppression and unhappiness and all the rest of it's not true. It's not true. I could say more, but it wouldn't be very welcome on this one platform. But a lot of women didn't want modernity. I'll say it that way. A lot of women didn't. It sort of had to be astroturfed and pushed on them. And anyway, because they were quite happy with their role and what they had. They were. So otherwise, you think they would have pushed for this equality a lot sooner in human history, but they didn't. Again, don't listen to what they tell you. I know a lot of us get out of school and then we become even smarter because we realize, oh, they taught us a bunch of lies. Isn't that weird that a government would want to take over schooling,
School did
for
such
the
a bad
common
job
good?
with me.
But then it would
But
turn out to
also
be
I was half
propaganda, and it leads
the days I
to
was not there.
mindsets like this. This woman is like, I don't know. A lot of these women on TikTok are on here. I don't know
But
what's
still.
going on, what's wrong. But really look inward, not on your trauma, but your choices. Have humility. That is lacking because we have way too much self-esteem baloney in this society,
The
and
fake pride.
and far too little. Hey, these are your duties and responsibilities. It's just like with children. When you give children responsibilities, little
Inherent
tasks,
toxicity,
those are
because
happier
that is the
children
easiest and widest spread.
because they have a sense of accomplishment, a sense of
Hate
purpose,
connects.
a sense of capability and competence.
Hating
When you
something
don't
together
give children the opportunity to have that, they become
bonds.
less happy, less fulfilled the older they become because you don't teach them that that's how that happens and that you do things for others, etc., for the sake of doing things for others. When you don't teach that, they don't grow up with those values and that character. You have nihilistic, clueless, selfish people who are far more likely to go down a degenerate path because, pleasure is good and suffering is bad, regardless of the types, which is clearly not true. There's a lot of, there are drugs that give pleasure, but that's not good. And there's suffering that creates character building. But this is not what they want you to think because there's an agenda and they want the destruction of a nuclear family. And having a woman like this confused and the same as the other
It's a
ones
little conspiracy,
about
but
what's
I
really
like
going
it. I
on and
let it pass
incapable of being humble enough to really take accountability. She's
because everything is possible.
She's trying to be like, well, are my standards too
It's
high? I
probably
suppose I
just
should give her some credit that she's
social media.
trying. It's hard to push back against propaganda that you've been fed. You don't know it's propaganda. You don't know you've been lied to. And we have definitely been lied to because we are useful. We're useful at taking you guys down. We are a tool of the state to take men down. And that's how powerful it is. But
It
unfortunately,
can work
that's how
easily, anyways.
The longer I
Because the
go
man
being
is
single, the older
gullible
I get,
for any woman.
the higher the bar gets
It
for
makes
someone that I'm
nice,
willing
pretty
to
eyes for him.
be with or even entertain, because I'm just that much more comfortable with myself that someone's really going to have to be awesome for me to want to even put in the time and energy and effort to.
It's going the wrong direction because the longer you're in the dating scene, quality goes down. You're inside. Because look, your standards are getting higher. Based on what? You're getting older. You're having more experience. That's not going the right direction. The longer, okay, we talked about shopping analogy, right? Ladies, if there's one or two listening, hear me.
The
and
older
men,
you
share
are,
this
the
with your
cheaper
favorite
you're gonna
feminist.
get. Is she gonna say?
When an item that's for sale is on
Is
the rack.
she
'cause we're
sexist?
using shopping as an analogy. I'm not saying women are for sale. When an item is on the rack for an
I
extended
think you can
period
only
of
be
time,
sexist if you're of the
do
other
you
gender.
increase the price or does it get marked down and put on sale? Because as it's on the shelf, it shows it's not something that people want to buy. It's not something that people want that bad. So the merchant must lower the price because the market has spoken. You, ma'am, if
Yeah.
you're on the shelf longer,
She said
you're
it.
increasing your price and going, I don't
There it is.
understand why nobody's choosing me. This is an easy shopping
It's
analogy.
actually sad, huh? So I just have to wait and I get a girlfriend easy because the standards are gonna
even
be so
begin to
low.
get to know someone. But obviously, eventually, I'd like to end up in a relationship and yada, yada, yada. And I feel like I'm torn between this idea of having
That's the
high
message, right?
standards for other people and also holding myself to that same high standard if roles were reversed, and having unrealistic expectations, as in like expecting
No,
too
it's
much
just our
for where
generation.
I'm at in my life for myself and another individual. I feel like that's a very fine line there between those two things that's hard to differentiate.
All right, so she's out here literally
It's
asking
gonna
other
take
women,
too long.
how do you differentiate between having high standards and having unrealistic expectations? And honestly,
To
that
make a
question
pivot.
alone tells you everything you need to know. Because let's be real, most modern dating standards aren't about compatibility, values, or long-term success. No, they're about status, aesthetics, and Instagram-worthy moments. Women today have confused having high standards with demanding perfection. A high standard is wanting a man who is kind, loyal, emotionally available, and a provider. Unrealistic expectations? That's wanting a 6'2" millionaire with a six-pack, a full head
That's
of hair,
me, dude.
a luxury car, a vacation home, and a personality straight out of a rom-com.
Right. That standard she's probably talking about is that it's a lifestyle. It's how he makes her feel. You know what? Be empowered enough to be in control of your own feelings, your own perspectives, and your own attitudes. Even
In your
your own
dreams,
behavior.
bruv.
None of this, well, he made me mad, so he doesn't make me happy. No. If you're empowered, then you will make yourself happy. You make choices that lead to fulfillment, which guess what? Is not a career or higher levels of education for anyone. That's really not where we find fulfillment. We find fulfillment in our families and our legacy and our children and giving and pouring into that. And then greater than that, community. That is really where it comes from. Once again, we're sold a lie that that's not true. And a lot of us, like more, the 50% of the population are more predisposed to believing that line of baloney because they want to choose the fruit from the one tree that we're not supposed to have.
Yeah, analogies are so good.
See the difference? And let's not forget, these same
She
women
made a
who
point
demand
again.
the absolute best from men are rarely holding themselves to the same standards. They expect a man to have his entire life together, but they're still struggling with basic emotional regulation.
They
They want a
always want
leader,
to forbid an
but
apple.
refuse to be led. They want a protector, but claim they don't need a man. They
I think
demand
I got the
loyalty,
gist
but
of
refuse to delete their dating apps.
all of this
Or
bullshit.
Instagram. You know, I think I was watching Pearl one time, and I think it was her. I'm going to attribute it to her. And she was saying, you know, when you update your profile picture, who's that for? And it was then that my one social media, Facebook, which is like personal page, right? I changed my profile picture to a cross, and I will never put, unless it's this channel for y'all and this mission that I'm on here. I don't have Instagram, right? I will not have a profile picture that.
Oh, but that's the
because,
wrong
again,
thinking.
who is it for?
Because you need it
Who are you
to
like, oh, I
get
just
your
got my hair
message
done.
across. That's how
Really?
it is nowadays.
No.
You can't be ignorant about the social
You shouldn't have
media
that because
evolution.
you're getting attention. You're getting male attention, and
I
you
know
know
what
it.
she
And if
says,
you say that's
but
not
now
what it's
she has the
for,
false
well, it might
pride.
not be what it's for. You're gonna get that. And
Okay,
you know
no, you have to see it
And
different. That is the vehicle.
it's not good for
That
us.
is the future.
And it's not loyal. It's not loyal. I don't believe
But
it's loyal.
because your
I know a lot of
message is
women
so
aren't gonna
good,
hear
you
that.
want more
They're not
people
ready to hear
to
it.
want to hear that.
But
You're
I
not
can't.
gonna get it any other way.
It's true. It's true.
That is true.
So putting yourself out there online like that as a woman, knowing you're going to get male attention,
So good thing we are watching
it's
her.
wrong. We have
'Cause we are on
responsibility in that.
Instagram.
Stop talking about the male gaze. Men are wired to appreciate beautiful women. There's a reason
Another
why
true.
200 years ago, you didn't see women dressed promiscuously. You just didn't see it. And the women didn't want to do it. It's not like they were forced. They didn't want to do it. And they
Maybe an
shamed
ankle or two.
women who did, because those women were not good for society, were not good for their families. Those women were seen as predatorial. We need to think about that.
And here's the real kicker. The higher your standards, the smaller your dating pool. If your list of must-haves puts you in the top 1% of women competing for the top 1% of men, guess what? You're setting yourself up for a life of being single. The truth is, high standards are great when they're grounded in reality.
It's actually
But if you're
true.
sitting there wondering, why can't I find a man who checks all my boxes? Maybe the problem isn't men. Maybe the problem is the list. Men have given up, and she's shocked.
Can somebody explain to me why it is so hard to go to a sports bar to find actual seating to possibly meet a man who's going to buy me a drink? Let me know. My friend and I have gone to 3 different bars. Let me know why it's so difficult. At this point, should I go home?
All right, let's talk about this. So, she and her friend went to 3 different sports bars.
She
Not
wants
to
her
watch
to
the game,
so
not to
buy
have a
her
good
a
time,
drink.
but to sit and wait for men to buy them drinks. And she was baffled that no one did. Like, seriously?
You know how much
You
one
are
drink is
loud.
nowadays?
Lady, is this your speaking voice? You are loud. There is a masculine edge to you. I'm not trying to be insulting,
But she
but
is.
believe me, they saw that, and men are not dumb. Men are onto them. Men are onto the women. They know. They know why you were there. They could tell.
In the next 2
saw
decades,
you
yeah,
as a
probably.
predator. Right? Tell me if I'm
There's
wrong,
gonna
you
be
guys.
artificial,
They saw exactly what you were there for. They also don't like the
not even
fakery.
fertilization. It's
Not a
just
fan of that.
clones.
They don't like the fakery. They don't like the
Don't worry
loudness.
about
They don't
population.
like that edge, right? And they don't like that you went expecting free drinks. They can see it. They're not stupid. I can't believe. I mean, how dumb do you think men are? They're not in a lot of cases. They're smarter. Yeah.
Ladies,
I'm
the
not
free
making
drink
fun of
era is
anybody's
over.
appearance.
Men aren't playing this game anymore. For years, guys have been ridiculed on TikTok, clowned in group chats, and called creeps just for trying to be nice.
Yeah.
You wanted them to stop approaching? They did.
Yeah.
You wanted them to stop harassing you by offering to buy a drink? They did. And
Yeah.
now, you're
That's
confused why
harassment.
no one
Yes.
is lining up to fund your night out? Men have given up. Why would any guy spend his hard-earned money on a woman who's just using him for free drinks? Why would he risk being humiliated for the sake of a 5-minute interaction that probably leads nowhere? Guess what? He won't. So now, she's sitting there, moving from bar to bar, thinking, what's going on? Where are the men? I'll tell you where they are. They're watching the game, hanging out with friends, enjoying their peace, and spending their money on women who
The
actually
game.
appreciate them. If you're going out expecting men,
Then they're not spending their money on women.
Oh my
Because
god, women
where
are so
are
fucking
those
expensive. Holy shit.
pretending? But anyways, sorry. Interrupted him at the very
and
end.
to pay for your presents, do yourself a favor. Just go home.
Because it's all equal, yeah.
That's awesome. That
But
is
still
awesome.
somehow,
Okay. I need to pause this before it starts again.
somehow it's not.
I don't know why it is. Okay. Just get rid of that window. That's one way to do it. Oh, you guys, thank you for joining me on this. Sorry, my hair keeps getting in my face. I'm gonna get it done soon. So trim. Yeah, they're on there complaining. They know there's a problem.
She's so
they're not
gorgeous, dude.
looking
Absolute
inward, and they're
waifu.
not listening to you, thinking you might be telling the truth and you might know something we don't. Because honestly, it's so crazy. Like, you guys know what the issue is, but we don't have the ability to listen or to hear you. Because a lot of women think they're listening, but there's a block, and that's the disconnect.
What is that
where
block?
It really falls apart.
It's
If
true,
we
there
could
is a
just
block.
get over ourselves and be humble enough to think, well,
How
what
do
the
you
men
get a
think?
woman like
And
this
maybe
humble?
it's not that they're evil
That's what-
and
that was what I was
selfish, and
thinking.
that they despise us,
With the last woman.
like the first woman that we watched, and she was the last one on the last video. Good gracious, the projecting and the confession that she's giving without realizing it. And
Good
she's
question,
a
yeah.
coach. I don't know how to break through. I think the best way to break through to women on this is to get them to see a man in their real life.
Because you want to beat the shit out
And
of them,
then
but you can't, because then suddenly
it all makes
you
sense.
get
So,
sent to jail.
thank you
Just
guys for
kidding.
joining me on this one. It was part 2. You see why we had to do it in 2 parts. But I think it was necessary. I think Men Only had a lot of important things to say, but I definitely needed to add to it and endorse some of the things that he said.
Just kidding. When
Sorry,
I know
because
there is
being a woman,
somebody who's hitting women,
I can
I make
vouch
them my
for a lot
bitch.
of the things he's saying, but I can also
'Cause
say,
that's how I
she,
roll.
I got some extra. And I even hold back on that. But I know you guys can read between the lines.
Because I can't
hear
stand
what I'm
bullies, and that's
not
like the
saying
purest form of bully.
So
Because you have
thank you guys
physical
so much
advantage.
for being who you are and for educating me every day on this stuff. But I'll say it again, this is y'all's channel. And the mission is to help men not go
Amazing,
through
amazing.
the painful
Nice
things that some of you
insight.
have gone through. Even if that does mean that you'll have
I
to say no to
knew it
having a
was
family,
rough
because
when I
then at least you're
heard
saying no to having it ripped away.
women would
Not everybody agrees with that.
take away sex
There's
from
the
men
types that are like,
because
"Man, I'm not
Trump
doing
won
the
the
right thing."
election
It's like, I don't
or
know. I
something
don't
like
think
that.
that's, y'all have told me it's not worth it. It's not worth the pain. The wound that never heals when you get 96 hours a month with your child. It's not.
It's a little different over here, but not really.
So I'm out here
And it's
ringing the
making
bell.
its way,
Warning,
for sure.
warning that do not proceed. This is not safe. So protect that peace.
Because
Feed your
like
souls.
this is
I love you guys.
very
And I'll see you in
recent.
the next
When
one.
2
Bye.
days ago. This is an ongoing now. And as she said, it's gonna take a long time to make a pivot. They're not gonna make a pivot, not even remotely, and it's gonna be here already. Men are done anyways. That is how it is. Let's see her most. I love how I'm watching and reacting, her watch and react. This is peak. I love this. Oh, so this one did really well. 1 month ago, 200K. Yo, let's watch this one. The Manipulated Man, written in 1971, is exactly right. I love these books that come true from 50 years ago, where the people already see the future, you know? Peak content, yes, man. I'm just randomly going through a few videos that piqued my interest, and now my feed gets flooded with all these kind of things. And the way I got into this was basically through looking for like meditation, breathing exercises to cope with like panic attacks and dealing with breakup and depression, right? And now we are like on the next level. It's crazy. Oh man, I understand so much more now. Do you get suggestions? Not really. You can suggest though. But I warn you, I'm very much like, if we swap scenery now too hard, I cannot watch it. You know? Not now, anyways. Jidon Pratt catches. What is that? I look it up, okay. Man gets exposed. Oh no, man. I'm done with that, dude. I've seen a bunch of really rough ones. You know how most of them get free? Cause if like somebody more like Funny though, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I know. I see. I don't really amuse myself with these kind of things. Not right now, anyways. I can't really find time to like enjoy something for laughter or for lols, and especially not if it's just plain stupid right now. Because I'm a little bit in a difficult situation. I'm just really trying to cope. Really trying to get some closure. Be down for a song? No, not really, man. I'm so sorry. I just want to watch videos. We have time for one more. I think we should watch this one about the book. I want to know what she's talking about. But I'm streaming a lot, so maybe there's something that I find interesting, and then you will see it for sure. And I'm uploading a lot on YouTube. Like this last one that we just watched, I'm definitely gonna upload on YouTube. Because I like it. I like her, and I just want to spread her message. But I'm a little bit intrigued about this book thing, so I hope you're gonna enjoy as well. Let's see. Again, she writes it with like an at manipulator. I'm gonna do that as well in my titles. The Manipulated Man, written in 1971, is exactly right. Can compare to TikToks from modern women. I'm intrigued. Let's see.
Hi. The overlords, the people in control, the government, whoever you think is controlling things, do not like this woman. I am showing her name on the screen
Esther
because
Villar.
if I say it, or the name of the book,
Uh-oh.
YouTube says no, no, no.
Uh-oh. I didn't say anything.
So I'm not going to say the name of the book. I'm not going to say the author's name. If you're listening, I'm so sorry. I showed it. I showed what it is.
Okay, so
It's a
she's
book that
into
was written in
conspiracies, though,
1971,
for sure.
and we've covered it in the last 2 videos on
I can't,
Thursday and Friday.
can't
And we're
fault her
working
for
our way
that.
through it. I'm commenting on it and giving feedback and reactions, so it is fair use. You are not
71.
violating
So
any
this is more than
copyright
50 years.
issues here. And when I was
Wow,
going to start this
we are coming
chapter,
2025.
Desperado,
What the
the 4th chapter,
What
it's
the
called A Woman's Horizon, the 4th chapter is. I kind of perused the first little bit of it to see what it was talking about, because I always think, well, let's see if this is applicable nowadays, as the last 3 chapters have totally been. And by golly, sure it was. So I went to TikTok, trusty TikTok, and the chicks were talking all right. And I just, because I was reading what this chapter is about, and we're going to get into it in just a second. I was reading what this chapter was about, right?
We're gonna 125x
And I was
speed.
like, is this real? It's not something that I've noticed in my
I was
life.
already
So
not
I
even noticing it anymore. That's what I do with every
I
video.
just thought to myself, is this something that women, is this how women are? Because I am not one to challenge Ms. Villar's
Okay, she warned us about a certain type of woman. When was this? 1 month ago.
because the woman was not only before her time, but wise, so wise, and goodness gracious, check it out. Here's a little preview of what we're going to read from Esther's book here.
You guys, I went into my local mini mart that I literally usually go into when I'm looking like a hot mess, and I go and get my protein shake before like my yoga class or something like that. And she was just like, oh my God, you look so good. Like the girl that I usually see when I go and buy something, literally at the Charlie's 5 and Dime. And she's like, you look so good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, you're making my day. And she's like, no, really, like you're lighting up the entire store. And I was like, no, like you're really making my day. Like you're gonna give me you're gonna make me cry. And then I asked to hug her across the counter, because I'm like, you are genuinely filling my soul up, because it just makes me have so.
This is the reaction to another woman, a strange woman, complimenting her, right? So I want you to think about
He's
how
overjoyed
giddy,
for sure.
how absolutely giddy this chick is. Like, cuckoo, like real giddy about this compliment. And imagine if it had been a man who had paid her any kind of a compliment at all, like, you look nice today, or whatever. Oh my gosh, the opposite reaction would happen. Like, ew, oh, what does he want, etc. All based on our programming and propaganda. Based on, that's how we react when a man compliments, not me, but this is how these women react when a man compliments
Why
them,
would
like
you say that
editorial,
now?
right? But this, how a woman compliments them, this has not been, altered with propaganda or anything. This is how they are. Wait until you hear what Esther has to say about women and what's important to them. We only have a few more seconds of this, and then just wait.
Okay. I'll wait. I'll wait.
So much like love in my heart for just girls supporting girls, girls complimenting girls, girls treating girls like the absolute world, because really genuinely girls supporting girls, and she said it herself, she was like, girls supporting girls, like it makes the world of a difference. Like everybody comes together when you support girls. Like just support your girls, go compliment your girls, go make your girls feel good. You guys, I went into my.
What does that have to do?
She's
what
not
does
saying
that do?
anything.
I don't understand how that makes the world better.
Oh, come on.
I don't understand. It's just her feelings inside. This
She's
just
a
shows
hater.
you. It's another example how however she feels inside is how she sees the world. She'll just project that. So I have a theory. This backs up my theory that when they get like middle age, between 35 and 43,
I'm gonna
around
let her
that
speak,
age,
and then I'm gonna say my piece.
where the egg
With
carton is
whatever
really
just happened
empty
here.
and hormones are changing, and they're unhappy because turns out career isn't everything they were told it is, and they feel empty because they haven't, been real mothers, and they're not close to their children the way they should be. Anyway, then
Wow,
they're just like unhappy because they're unfulfilled, right? And they're older. And
She's
they're
winding
they're
up
not
with-
leaning into their older age. They're not enjoying that as part of life.
For why?
They still want to be young and hot.
She was giddy and
Gonna be
happy
right.
about
Well, anyway,
a
so why
compliment.
am I telling you this?
I
So
know
they
it's a
get,
little bit
they don't like it.
too much,
And they
very
feel empty
dramatic.
and everything. Well, they have
But that's how
feelings
people are. That's
inside.
how some people are.
Project
It's
that
like that's how
outward.
important that
Who's
compliment was
right
for her.
The husband, day in and day out, being reliable.
You can't fault
You
her
know,
for being that happy about
trusty.
it. And she didn't.
Got all this
There was nothing
inside of
that
us.
connects
He's right there.
her
Well,
reaction to if it
must
was
be
a
him.
man. It
Get
could
rid of
be.
him.
It could be.
Then everything would be good. Then we could have what we deserve.
But
I really
it
think
was
that's a big reason
not
why they blew up their
implied.
families. But anyway,
So why would she?
that's
Why would
besides the
she
point. We're going to talk about
do that
Ms.
now?
Vilar's point of
Let's
view.
see. Okay.
Goodness gracious,
Let's
you
see
guys.
what he says in the
So
book.
with how that woman was being complimented by another woman, and trust me, she's not the only one. I've got a few more to show you.
Okay. I don't think
Women's
I
horizon.
don't see any bad about it.
Whatever
That's the
men
thing.
set about to impress women with counts for nothing in the world of women. Only another woman is of importance in her world.
Okay.
Of course, a woman will always be pleased if a man turns to look at her, and if he is well dressed or drives an expensive sports car, so much the better. Her pleasure may be
Okay.
compared to that of a shareholder who finds that his stocks have risen. It will be a matter of complete indifference to a woman if he is attractive or looks intelligent. A shareholder is hardly likely to notice the color of his dividend checks. It's not interesting. It's like, whatever, good. But if another woman should turn to look, a rare occurrence, for her own judgment is infinitely more remorseless than that of a man. Her day is made. We just saw that. She has achieved the impossible, the recognition, admiration, and love of other women. Yes, only women. Bless you. That's my little dog Lola. Hit like, won't you, on the video, and subscribe to the channel. Share this show with all your favorite feminists, or maybe some other people you think may need to hear this message. Maybe you know some guys who are not red-pilled yet, and they think, oh no, I'm gonna find a nice
That was
woman.
a good one. That
You know,
was a
they don't believe in
good call to
AWOLs.
action.
Maybe send them this. Send them
She's
this
a
video.
master.
I'll straighten them out. Lola will too. Lola will tell them.
Okay, before she keeps reading, out of context, whatever she just read from this book sounds like butthurt emo. He got hurt by a woman, leaving him for another guy with more money. And then he wrote this. But it's out of context. I don't know what this is about. I'm trying to put the puzzles together, not to think about her in a bad way, because she was actually just plain hating on the girl in the first clip, who, yeah, she was yapping, but she did nothing wrong. Not in my book. I don't know.
Oh gosh, okay.
So I'm trying to see
yes,
what's the
only women
connection.
exist in a woman's world. The women she meets at church, at parent-teacher meetings, or in the supermarket. The women with whom she chats over the garden fence.
Ooh,
The
that is
women at parties or
internet
window
back
shopping
then.
in the more fashionable streets. Those she apparently never seems to notice. These women are the measure of her success or failure. Or the woman, you know, at Starbucks or wherever it was that just saw her woman complimenting her. Women's standards correspond to those in other women's heads, not to those in the heads of men. It is
I think it's a
their
little
judgment
far-fetched.
that really
It does
counts,
fit though.
not that of men.
If you want to make the connection, you can make a connection. You can
A
force it
simple
enough to
word
make
of
sense.
praise from another woman, and all those clumsy, inadequate male compliments fall by the wayside, for they are just praises out of the mouths of amateurs.
Oh, he's butthurt.
Men really have no idea in what kind of world women live in. Their hymns of praise miss all the vital points. Let's check out another one.
That's an insert.
Okay, this one's a little bit harder to hear because this chick's got her camera set up to, I don't know, admire her assets.
These streamer
Her
interactions
BBL,
are
perhaps?
crazy though. There is some are really
And I'll
criminal.
never understand that. However, she garners the
For both
attention
ways.
of another woman. We get to see that play out in real life.
Oh my god, thank you so much. How did you grow it? I didn't figure it on TikTok. What's your TikTok? I can put it in for you. I've been looking at your ass like, oh my god. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So she's got a big butt.
Thank you.
I think it's just genetics and fat.
I'm a woman, so it's I really appreciate it, honestly.
You can build it with muscles, sure.
No, literally the food, the everything. It's perfect. Gotta follow. Thank you. Oh yeah. Why is it? Oh my god, because there's so much stuff out there, but you know, for work and you're a real person. Thank you so much. Thank you. You said Saraya? Yeah. Selena. Nice to meet you.
Look at her ass.
Okay.
My ass is as massive as hers.
Okay then. That's There's that.
If not more.
Did you see how giddy she was? Absolutely giddy. That was real. Like her reaction, the giddiness. Whenever I've received a compliment from a woman, I feel like I'm doing it wrong. Am I supposed to act like that? Because I just go, thank you. I didn't know I was supposed to get giddy.
It doesn't
Am I
really
being
matter
rude
who
to
it
these other
comes from.
women?
No, I
Because
can
I'm like,
see the difference though.
thank you.
Getting the
That's so
same
nice of you.
compliment
Like,
from either male or female.
guess I'm doing it wrong. Oops.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Don't jump
girl's
the
girl.
gun there. I think I
I'm
can.
not. So I guess I don't know the rules of how we're supposed to do this. I'm not going to cry. Of course, woman wants to please man as well. Don't let us forget, after all, that he provides the material means. But that is much more easily done. Yeah, it's easy to please a man. Men have been conditioned to react to a certain degree of differentiations. They expect women to conform to certain types of sex symbols created by makeup and other standard trappings: long hair, painted lips, tight-fitting sweaters, miniskirts, sheer stockings, high heels, all done in a moment. Remember, this is 1971.
Mm-hmm.
Miniskirts were pretty new. That was like miniskirts were less than a decade old.
71.
The debauchery of the 60s, the degeneracy, the free fall of degeneracy.
That's most of the TVs are still black and white.
Will give you whiplash. So think about that, where we are in 1971 and the change and degeneracy they had seen. It is those living works of art which are beyond man's comprehension, those creatures walking the fashionable streets of Paris, Rome, and New York, the skill of eyeliner and shadow expertly applied, the choice of lipstick
It actually
and
is
its
a skill.
application, with or
Holy
without
shit, makeup
brush,
is
in several layers
a
or
whole
only in one.
animal, dude.
The compromise to be achieved between the pros and cons of false eyelashes, the matching of a dress,
You
a
can
stole,
be
or a
very,
coat
very
with the lighting. All this is an art requiring
creative,
expert knowledge of which man
deceiving.
has no conception. A man lacks
You
any
can make
kind of
everything
appreciation for this. Yeah, in fact,
look
nowadays
like
we're
anything.
finally hearing how little you guys like it. You don't like the fakery.
There's some crazy
You're not a
transformations.
fan. I think because now you realize how fake it is, how different these women look when they take off their makeup. That's contour and lashes and eyebrows and all the rest of it. Goodness gracious, way worse than what was going on back here.
Too much
What
makeup
was
is
going
too
on
much,
in
man.
1971 was way worse than what had happened, like compared to 1951. The difference. We all start looking like streetwalkers. That's what we've adopted. The look of a streetwalker. Think about it.
Streetwalker, okay. I was about to say what you
Staggering.
meant.
A man lacks any kind of comprehension for this, any kind of appreciation for this. He has not learnt to interpret the extent of female masquerades, and he cannot possibly evaluate these walking works of art. To achieve
Well,
perfection in such
it's not
skill
man
needs
anymore.
time,
It's a
money,
different
and
kind of
infinitely
breed.
limited mind. All these requirements are met by women. Interesting. That's
No, but
why
there's
they
nothing
get so
wrong to
tickled
like
when a
makeup.
woman appreciates them or compliments them
each
because
their
they're like,
own.
I appreciate that compliment because
Even if
they
it's
get
bigger
it.
heavy,
They know all the
it's
work
their
I've
king.
put into this.
Who am I to
So
say anything?
their compliment matters. But all of that is superficial.
Yes,
You're
it is.
complimenting superficiality, aren't you? Because these are not achievements.
You get mad because that's how things
This
work
is
as
not
well.
anything to do with character.
But it's okay
right?
to
Am I
be
missing
like
something?
that, just not
Let
to
me know in the
work like
comments.
that.
I am going to read them.
We have to question
This
why
is-
is
I'm
it that
learning
it
this.
works
I did
like
not
that.
know this. My head is spinning. No wonder I don't get along with women very well. This might be one of the reasons I don't get along with women very well. Oh boy. Okay. In fact, when a woman dresses, she considers a man to a slight extent, the extent necessary to hold him and to encourage him to provide, in the wildest sense, for her. Every other investment is aimed at other women. So when she says, I dress for myself, and we're telling her, no, that's a lie, you dress for men, that's actually not true. They're dressing to impress other women. Is it to compete? I wonder if Esther is going to talk about this as a competition yet or not. This woman is a genius.
It's subjective.
I mean, she's so observant, right? She just observed all these people and she figured it out. You don't need experts. You need eyeballs and logic and wisdom.
It is a woman that
not
wrote the
hard.
book. Okay, I take away what I said.
Every other investment is aimed at other women. Man has importance only as the provider.
Why would a woman
If
say
a firm
that
wants to
these
get
things?
hold of a specialist in some field, It will flatter and entice him in every possible way until he weakens. Once the contract is
Because she
signed,
lived
his
it.
employers can relax. Their leverage over him
It's
continues
always
to
like
increase.
this.
A woman behaves
You
in
get to
much the
hate the
same way
things that you
with
got
a
too much
man.
of.
She gives her man just enough rope to ensure his preferring life by her side to breaking his contract with her. I'm going to read that again. She gives her man just enough rope to
The book
ensure his
about many
preferring life
yes.
by her side. Just
No,
it's to make him prefer
they
life with
are
her
talking shit about
than
women.
to breaking the
That is
contract
correct.
with her.
Like the
Like
first
the marriage contract.
time you got
That's
it.
right. They do
That
just
is
enough,
correct.
don't
But
they?
it was written by a woman
Just
as well.
enough to say, it's in your favor to stay married to me, but that's also all the things that they can do.
It's
with the
hard to
state.
comprehend, right?
A woman may,
Because
in fact,
it's
be compared
either
to a firm in a
one
number of
gender
ways.
talking shit about the
After
other,
all,
but no,
a
this
firm is
time.
only an impersonal system aimed at achieving a maximum profit. And what else does a woman do? Without any emotion, love, hate, or malice, she is bound to the man who works for her. Feelings become involved only if he threatens to leave her. Then her livelihood is at stake, as this is a rational reaction with a rational cause. It can be rationally dealt with and adjusted to. She can always place another man under contract, and they usually have a backup in mind. How different is her reaction from those of a man who finds himself in a similar position? He is racked by jealousy, humiliation, and self-pity, but she is emotionless.
Wow.
Right? More evidence that Ms.
My
Villar
heart.
was right in 1971 about the nature of the lady folk.
The dagger.
And it is just as true today.
Y'all, this woman approached me at the gym. She took her headphone out and she looked at me in my eyes and said, "You are a stunning woman."
You are what?
The way that I teared up just slightly, I grabbed her by her arm and I said, "I want you to know that I have thought that exact same thing about you every time I've been in here." That compliment meant way more to me.
That's cool. Both of them appreciate each other a
the
lot.
creepy old man who approached me like a week ago who said, "I see you in here a lot. You work out in the evenings, right?" Red flag. Be aware of your surroundings, ladies, because your surroundings are aware of you. And then he said, "Do you want me to teach you about the stock market?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And then he proceeded by asking, "Do you need a man to take care of you?"
Okay, I mean, he's being very forward.
Especially not with your balding pattern. Not you. So all that to say, women, let's compliment women more often. You're a stunning woman. Y'all, this woman approached
Okay, here we have the first connection
me at the gym.
in this example
And she looked at me in the eyes and said,
of where the woman in the clip says something about the man. And I find the first one very offensive too. Because he knows when she's working out.
For another woman,
Is that
and
a
not
creep
in
now?
order to be free.
It happens to be the same
I don't know
time.
if that's true. In her eyes, he is not improving his position in any way. The adventure of a man's love for a new woman is nothing more than a nuisance. She is seeing it all from the angle of the entrepreneur who loses his best worker to a competitor. That's true. It's not like she's really heartbroken, right? It seems more like, yeah, she's angry at the betrayal. But it isn't like, it's not like when a man is heartbroken because, yeah, she's right. It's totally different. As far as a woman is concerned, the heartache involved is nothing more than a reaction to letting good business go elsewhere. Oh my God. That hits. That's hard. That's rough because I just know that's true. And I hate saying it out loud because I realize
That's what a
saying
woman
it to
thinks, yeah.
you guys. And there are so many of you that have been cast aside by women that told you they loved you. And now you're hearing, oh no, it was nothing more than a reaction to letting good business go elsewhere. And that's why you end up in family court acting like this is some kind of a business negotiation or deal.
And then
Because
children are involved.
was.
Damn.
And I hate
When
saying
it comes that far, holy fuck, man.
but it's truth. And we need to know what the truth is. And that will hopefully,
It's getting more and more.
if you don't have good reason to pause and not look
So
for
many
a
single
woman as a
mothers
romantic
and
partner, this should give you great reason to pause. It isn't just that, oh, you didn't find the right one. It isn't just that, oh, well, oh, you chose wrong. We'll pick another one, a better one the next time. But this is what they're like. So you can't. Maybe if they'd been read fairy tales as children, you could, and they would have learned some good lessons, but they didn't. Consequently, it is quite absurd for any man to think his wife being faithful merely because she does not go off with men, with other men. Men who, in his eyes, are more attractive. Provided he is working hard and is supplying all the things that really matter to her, why should she? A woman's faithfulness has nothing in common with that of a man. Women are, in contrast to men, practically immune to the looks of the opposite sex. That's what I've been saying. Trust me. Don't listen to them when they're like,
That's what
he's
I've
hot,
been
he's this, he's that.
hearing
He
as
really
well.
isn't that. It's really not looks.
But it is for
Never has
sure.
been. The only reason that a woman would choose a man for how he
Initially,
looks is to
first
show
10
him off to
seconds
other
or
women.
something.
And that's just like, sort of like the jewelry racket. It's sort of like diamonds being worth a lot of money. Like, okay, but have you seen them? They're like, why would you? They're just clear, plain rocks. But anyway, I'm telling you, looks don't actually matter to the woman. They're not actually attracted to looks.
They do, they do, they do. As
This
you get
woman is
older,
right.
it doesn't matter anymore, that much more.
If a
For
woman flirts
myself,
with
I
her
found it in
husband's
myself
best
too.
friend, her intention is to annoy. Wait, her
But
intention
I
is
was
to
always
annoy
like
his
in
wife,
the
whose feelings do matter,
more average kind of
unlike
girls, I
those
guess.
of her own husband. If she felt deeply about the man in question, she would never show her emotions in public. That's true. In pluralistic sex practices, such as wife swapping, which has now taken over from flirtation as a pastime,
What the fuck?
it is the other wife who is the object of attack. History is full of anecdotes about male potentates enjoying themselves with many mistresses.
They went from flirting to wife
There are
swapping in the
few such
70s.
stories about female potentates.
Just like that.
A woman would be bored to tears with an
They
all-male
crazy,
harem.
dude.
It's true. What are they? Women don't want that. Not really. They like to have like the admiration and they want to be desired by him, but they don't really want to have him. Oh my goodness. This has always been the case and will remain so. It's just human nature. I can't say something else nature on YouTube. It doesn't like that. I'm figuring out what the robots are listening for. It's kind of like a game. If women reacted to a man's external appearance, every current advertisement scheme would be useless. According to
I have to
statistics,
say
it is the
F
female
word
sector of
and
the
S word
population
less.
who spends the most money. Money men earn for them.
We are now family friendly
Manufacturers do not
Christian
attempt to
channel.
stimulate sales by advertisements displaying handsome he-men. On the contrary, no matter what they want to sell, package, holidays, detergents, cars, bedroom suites, television sets, each advertisement flaunts a beautiful woman. Right. So women buy more stuff. Then why are beautiful women used to sell that stuff? If what is true is that women want to see good-looking men, then why wouldn't good-looking men be selling everything? Boom.
But they are?
Proof. Only very recently have film producers realized that a handsome hero is not essential to the success of a film. Right? Look at
Yes.
Tom Hanks, right? He's not handsome. How's he?
He
a man?
is?
Even Brad Pitt's face. Seriously? No.
Oh, she's so that's her belief.
Women are quite content with an ugly star. Jean-Paul Belmondo, Walter Matthau, or Dustin Hoffman, right?
Who are these guys?
All not good-looking
I
leading
know
men.
Dustin.
Doesn't matter. And naturally, men prefer them. With their sense of physical inferiority, due to the fact
No, you
that
have
they
like
only very rarely
just look
consider
at
themselves
commercials.
beautiful.
Everybody
They
looks
find-
the
they
same.
find it far
They
easier to
talk the
identify
same.
with
Their
an ugly
pitch
star.
and voice is all
As
the
long as
same.
there is a beautiful female
That's
lead,
what people
a
want.
film with an ugly male star will be enjoyed by women as much as a movie starring Rock Hudson.
Their
For in
beard, their
reality,
haircut.
they are interested only in the women in the film. I mean, John Wayne, he's not attractive. Not that women watch those movies, but it's just not. It's not a thing. It's really not a thing. Wow, it's so interesting. The reason men have remained
You gotta love
blind
her
to
for her
facts like these
her
for such a long
to
time
mix in
is
her
that they have been
beliefs in like
misled
this.
by the attacks women make on each other. When they hear a woman make derogatory remarks about another, her nose is too long, chest too flat, hips too wide, legs crooked, men, of course, assume that they can't stand each other or that women are not attracted by another woman's beauty.
Crooked legs.
Yet how
That's the
wrong they
best one.
are. Any businessman, for example, who spends his life praising his competitors in front of his employees would be thought quite mad. That's true. Before long, half his best workers would have moved to the other firm. It is the same game that politicians play. Of course, they have to blacken
Interesting.
each other's names. But if Nixon got stranded on a desert island, he would surely prefer the company of Oh, I should know this name.
70s was Nixon, I think so.
Ignorant.
Nixon was the biggest shot, the biggest businessman
Or
ever.
Castro, to the much praised man in the street who only elected him. After all, they have very little in common. If women were free of financial cares, the majority of them would prefer to spend their lives in the company of other women rather than with
must have
men.
been crazy times.
And not because they are all lesbians. You know, it's kind of like what women are doing, because in this day and age, see, this is before all the subsidies really, this is before women really had all the subsidies and were divorcing their husbands and getting cash and prizes. So now that they are financially independent, yeah, they definitely prefer other women. I mean, look at these women that are like so excited they got a compliment from women.
You know who should get financially independent?
What men
Because
call
it's always
lesbian
with children.
tendencies
The one who
probably
with
have
children.
little to do with a woman's sexual drive.
Most of the
No,
time
the
it is the
sexes have
woman.
almost no interest in common. What besides money can blind a woman to a man? Women make ideal living companions for each other, like the Golden Girls and Designing Women and
They
Facts
start
of Life.
talking shit
We had
about
all
the,
these TV
the
shows
other
kind of
ones. They
promoting
leave the
that,
room
didn't we?
immediately.
Look at Laverne and Shirley. That was early on, early days. Friends. Their feelings and instincts are retarded at the same primitive level. And they are almost
the R
no
word.
individualistic or eccentric women. And there are almost no individualistic or eccentric women. It isn't
Can we say
difficult
the
to
R word?
imagine the paradise they would create together and how exciting their existence would be, even if the intellectual level was appallingly low. But who would worry about it? Oh, that's the end of that chapter. Well, that's yeah, women. That's they think that they have a
Don't think
utopia with
so.
just them. And I mean, I guess if no one's requiring anything of them or challenging
too
them in
hard.
any way, I guess it would be sort of utopia, but it's not reality. It's not reality to live in that
Related.
situation. We are by nature dependent creatures. The female just is.
No,
We
let's
have
say
this fake
retired.
world where
What was that
you know,
one?
women are
Which
able
cartoon
to
was
live
that?
independently. We have a shelter. We have the ability to get food. We don't need a man to hunt for us now. We have grocery stores. We
He
have,
was Cartman.
you know, silly
Cartman
jobs
said
that we can do ourselves and make money.
he was
and
severely retired.
completely independent.
Something
The
like
thing is, and I wonder if Ms. Vilar will get to it later in the book, is that it turns out they might be happy for a little while, but when they get older and they're alone, and women fight with each other, they compete at the end of the day. So I don't think it would be a long-lasting utopia. But I'm interested to see what Ms. Vilar has to say, because I certainly agree with her on so much. And if I disagree with her, I'm going to pause and think to myself, perhaps I'm wrong, and explore that a little bit, because she's right on so many things. You know, I do differ with her in that she's quite secular, and I am a Christian, not in a feminist church type of a thing. I don't want to do that, but following the King James Bible and stuff like that, yes, absolutely, all day long. But women, yeah, let's check out one more, shall
Good
we?
for her, man. If
They're
she's
just
happy
too good. I'm just like, I had no idea that these women were so excited to be complimented by another woman, that was like the be all end
How
all.
many viewers?
But Esther
For
said it.
this kind of stuff, not that
Check
many.
the chick talk.
For workouts, like 10 or so.
Here we are.
Okay, listen, do y'all want to know what, like, I love? Like, you can't tell me shit today. Nobody can tell me shit today because I was complimented by a woman. Being a woman, being complimented by a woman is quite possibly the best thing ever. The drive-thru lady at the Starbucks, speaking of Starbucks, Southern Cream Cold Brew is back.
Oh my god, look at the Starbucks.
Anyways, back
I
to my
want
story.
this now.
The drive-thru Starbucks lady complimented my tattoos and said that she loves them, and I was like, oh, thank you. I think I blushed a little. My heart started racing. I'm not into women, but I might be if you compliment me.
It's a good time just to interject that the women compliment each other on things that are just men just don't find attractive, and they encourage each other to keep doing those things, like cutting their hair short, like tattooing themselves all over, like piercing various parts of their
I'm
body.
gonna get a
They
tattoo.
compliment each other on that, and they then think, oh, that looks good, that looks good. So I'm sure you guys have been like, why do they do that? Why do they tat themselves up? Why do they pierce everything? Like, who's telling them it looks good? Other women. And is it sabotage, or is it just, I don't know. I
No, but
don't know
it's
what it is.
fun.
I'm still trying to
It's just
figure that
fun. It
out.
can
That
be
is like
completely
yet
innocent
to be
fun.
discussed, because I just know that they're the ones
You don't
propping
have
each
to
other up
understand it
with
to
this
like it.
horrible,
You don't have to
horrible,
like
you know,
anything.
degenerate stuff. I'm sorry. It's the body God gave you. You're made in the image
Degenerate.
of God. You
Oh,
just
there it
shouldn't
is.
write on yourself in
That's
permanent
God
marker or
speaking.
have somebody else write on you in permanent marker. But let's just continue.
I love being complimented by women as a woman. Being complimented by men, not so much. It's gross. I mean, unless it's my husband. Obviously, if it's my husband, yes, I love the compliments. Thank you, honey. But other men, gross. Anyways, pumpkin cream cold brew. I get mine with 4 pumps of vanilla and 4 pumps of caramel. Don't talk to me about the sugar. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. You know I love Dunkin'. Y'all know I love my Dunkin'. But I will cheat on Dunkin' with this drink until it's taken away. Put this in my coffin with me when I die. Put it into my embalmment juice. Do whatever you gotta do to get it into my system when I'm dead. Okay?
She's actually fun.
Okay. Maybe cut back on the caffeine, but who am I to say? Also, can we just talk about for one quick second, why are women so loud these days? Have you noticed that? Like, she's just right there talking. Their volume of their voice is just like they're projecting out. You can tell, like, if you go to a restaurant, if you're wherever, like the women are just projecting. I'm like, shh.
But she was in traffic.
Why are you being so loud? It's very masculine. Anyway, that's not the topic of today's video. It's just, I can't not see it. So I just wanted to ask if you guys have noticed that, which I am sure you have. Why are they so loud? Because they have to act like I'm powerful. Look at me. I'm almost like, you know what? A lion does not have to roar for you to know he's a lion and he can snap you in half. So Chihuahuas that just an analogy.
Piercings is just the ick to
that I
me.
think is very
Piercings have to be really chosen well for me
Anyway.
also to work.
keep feeding your souls,
For
you guys.
sure.
Nobody
For
else is going to
sure,
do it, right? This world is going to take from you. So keep feeding your souls. Keep protecting your peace. Guard it with everything you've got. You deserve that peace.
I didn't like that video
I
that
love you guys.
much.
I'll see you on the next one. Okay? Bye.
But still, I appreciate what she's saying, and I'm just thankful that her opinions exist, and they are good opinions in many many things she said, but not in this video. So yeah, I'm gonna have to prepare some work for tomorrow. Tomorrow is gonna be very busy. I shouldn't have been streaming that long. Shit, I don't want to. No. I think that's it, guys. I would love to stay more and watch more stuff, but we're just gonna do it another day. So just sub, like, and comment, guys. You know the deal. We need to unlock monetization on YouTube. So give me all your watch time. I'm uploading every day, I think, dude, for such a long time already, for a month at least. I'm a machine. I'm a content machine, dude. Okay. Yo, supporter. I see you around, man. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the day wherever you are, and a good fight. Good night. GG, thank you. Bye.